That's okay, EB, when Mahomes and the Chiefs took the lead 28-24 with 1:45 to go. I think there were an awful lot of people that thought the Jags were losing.
Hey, when Trevor fumbled at the goal line and it was 14-0, I mean, let's be honest. Who wasn't saying same old Jags? I mean, really and truly, we've seen this before. I got to give Liam Cohen a ton of credit for what he's been able to do from when and JP's talked about it. I mean, I don't know if the culture's completely changed, but I do agree with what I heard this morning out of Troy post-game with SVP. If they keep going, this is the game they look back at. I think he's exactly right. Yes, it was, baby Jules. You were excited for a half an inning. The 3-run homer
Yep.
of the first.
Yep.
Son of a.
Exactly.
No, I did. I know. I want these both to be series. I got no issue with who wins in the National League out of any of the teams. I just don't want two sweeps.
Yep. You're like, we got our hitting shoes on today, and then we had one hit.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Tuesday. First such Tuesday of October. How'd your Monday go? How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Or Mark, as they were saying, emptying Everbank Stadium last night. Duval.
Wow, that was a little extra there. I mean, that had a lot on it.
Oh, they had a lot on it last night, Mark. That was a happy stadium, although a lot of Chiefs fans, they traveled. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is Florida.
I'm
you know,
just
where your whole crew was staying out there at Amelia Island and those places like that, they're pretty nice.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying the Chiefs fans saw the schedule and they made plans. That's all. Just pointing out there was a lot of red in that stadium last night. I mean, it wasn't a Florida-Georgia game. It wasn't 50-50, but I'm just saying there was, there was a lot of the reddish orange, whatever that shade is, but
well, and there, when you've been winning that much, you also have a lot of fans that jump on.
Yeah, but the joint was jumping. Good, entertaining game. Don't know how many of you stayed up because it was a good, entertaining weekend. And I know sometimes on Mondays, a lot of you are like, I don't know. I gotta pick my spots. And I understand, but Mark, come on. The Jags fall down 14-0 second quarter. This sucker's over, right?
David, when Trevor Lawrence fumbled on the goal line trying to jump over the top, which, by the way, great defensive play. Great. I mean, great defensive play. Let's give it up there for the defender who popped that out. That's just smart football.
Yeah.
That's a really smart play because usually they don't do that. Trevor's a big dude.
Mm-hmm.
What's he, 6'5", 6'4"? So
right.
Reaching over is not that difficult for him on that play, but they cough it up, and it's like, okay, the ball's on the 3. Maybe they can get a stop and get back in it. And the Chiefs do Chiefs things.
Bing,
and
bing,
they go
bop,
97 yards
right.
against the defense that everybody thought was really good. And I'm thinking, and I'm being brutally honest, and I didn't post it. I was just sitting there on the couch. Everybody was in bed already. And I went, I'll be damned. Same old Jags. Because they had just shown, and it was because I had pickup duty at gymnastics. So I listened to the first part of the game. And they had just shown a graphic, David, that showed the last Jags 3-1 start was 2018 or whatever it was. and they finished 5-11.
Mm-hmm.
And they had literally just shown that graphic. And here, Trevor fumbles, Chiefs go down, make it 14 spit, and I'm sitting on the couch going, damn, man, same old Jags. But we have JP Shadrick on every week. And JP for a while has talked about Liam Cohn and the culture. He's never been pom-poms about how they've played because the Jags in this 3-1 run have really not played a complete game. I don't even know if you could call last night a complete game. There were a lot of mistakes, but they are, as the old Everblades coach used to overuse when I did hockey, Jerry Fleming, resiliency. He used that word so much I'd giggle when I interviewed him. They were resilient last night, down 14-0, and they clawed their way back. And a team that's run the ball really well all year didn't run it all that well last night. Needed the quarterback to be their leading rusher. Needed a big defensive play. Got a couple of nice returns. When coaches talk about complimentary football, last night, the Jags played complimentary football, and I'll be damned, David. They came back late and in a Chris Berman-esque stumble and bumble and rumble.
Oh, my goodness. He fell down twice.
Twice. Well, he was tripped once,
Right.
and then he fell down again.
Right. And they still haven't tackled him. I mean, amazing.
How?
Amazing.
And he said post-game, I was going to throw it away. My first thought was we didn't have any timeouts. Get up and throw it away. And there was no one there.
Right.
And there was no one there.
He pulled a Mahomes. I mean, he really did. But good Monday night game. And the home team wins 31-28. And of course, this is just how we saw the season going. The Ravens are 1-4 and the Chiefs are 2-3.
Absolutely. We all called that. We all called.
And the Colts and the Jags are both 4-1. Of
Right.
course. Of course. This is exactly how we saw it. It's a long season. Oh, we know. 12 more of these to count in the standings. Oh, we know. A lot can happen. But, wow. Is America ready? Is America ready? Because, this potentially could be happening in baseball. I mean, we could get Toronto, Milwaukee, Seattle, Milwaukee, Detroit, Milwaukee in the World Series. Is America ready?
For a Tampa Bay, Jacksonville Super Bowl, David? Is that what you're trying to say?
If all of a sudden some of the big boys are not big boys anymore, I mean, we've gotten used to some of these teams. Really used to them. Come on, there's a big three in the AFC. It's Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. And two of the three right now are below 500. I'll be.
Quite a start. By the way, and I know you, and I you're going to crucify me for doing this, but I'll let you. You love to do if the season ended today. I mean, not only would the Jags be in, but the Patriots would be in at 3-2. Hell, there's only 7 teams, if I've got this right, in the AFC with records that are 500 or better.
Right?
Bills and Patriots, Steelers, Colts and Jags, Chargers and Broncos.
That's right.
I mean, those are the teams in the AFC right now that have winning records through 5 games. And as David said, there's a ton of football to play. I did that just to have a little fun with him. But goodness gracious, what a start to this NFL season.
So, hot damn. First time, by the way, it had been a very long time that the Chiefs were up double digits and lost in a regular season game. So a lot of penalties, though. Wow.
Well, the Chiefs, the Jags, I think, had more positive yards from penalties than they did running the football. Or it was damn close.
A lot of penalties. And big calls. And then they picked up a penalty, which allowed a touchdown to stay on the board. I have to admit, Mark, I don't think I've worked an NFL game, or a college one for that matter, in which the rules official, either in the booth or CBS does it with Gene Steratore almost always back in the New York studio. I don't think I've ever done a game in which the rules official disagreed with more calls on the field.
And the penalties were all on Kansas City. Jacksonville ended the night with 4 penalties. They did. Those are the stats.
I know.
The rushing yards for Jacksonville and the penalty yards for Kansas City ended up being exactly the same. 109 yards. 13 penalties for the Chiefs for 109 yards. I guess at least at this point in the season, we can put away that rumor that the Chiefs get all the calls.
Although in the first half, it seemed like the Chiefs were getting all the calls. It's funny how it worked, but man, oh man. They called 3 penalties on the same Chiefs player on 3 different kickoffs. I don't think I've ever seen that before. The last one was huge. The last one I didn't agree with. And that kickoff return, Mark, with, 23 seconds to go? Yeah, the Jags took the lead with 23 seconds to go. And so they returned the kick, and I think it took 5 seconds, and he got out of bounds at the 37-yard line. They've got 18 seconds left and all 3 timeouts. And I'm like, they're going to get off at least 2, possibly 3 plays. And how many more yards do we think they need to send out Butker? All right, I'm going to say something. Just give me 10 seconds. Because, Mark, from where the kickoff was returned, it was an 81-yard field goal. So how many more yards do you think they need before they can send the kicker out? 15?
25.
Send
the kicker out, sure, but 20 to be safe. 61-yarder.
All right. So they need 20 yards. They got 2 or 3 plays, and then the whole field's open because they've got 3 timeouts. I thought it was going to be the end of the Cowboys-Giants game in regulation, in which the Cowboys got the kickoff and a couple of pass plays and then send the kid out and make a 60-plus, and let's go to overtime.
But another penalty, and the Jags able to get the game over with and not allow Kansas City to do a whole hell of a lot there.
So, wild night at Everbank. The Jags beat the Chiefs. The Jags just went to Frisco, handed the Niners their only loss, and they just came back and beat the Chiefs?
These are games, David. They truly are, that start turning the fate of an organization around.
Wow. J-A-G-S. Jags.
Boy, am I on an island with that one in my house. Because my daughter's love of a certain singer and her fiance have made her a Chiefs fan. She didn't want to hear it out of me last night at any point, even though her team was winning when she went to bed. But when I woke her up at 5:25 this morning, well, I let her know what happened. Miller and Moulton. It's still the baseball hour. We'll talk baseball
For
next.
over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
And was the winning pitcher in a game.
Hey, no one can hear you when you're not in the booth there. If I
Oh,
don't,
okay.
they
Gotcha.
can't hear a word you're saying, just so you know. Repeat whatever it was you said.
Puck Virtue in the 2 games against the Reds, he was 3 for 9 with 2 homers and 4 RBIs. And he was the winning pitcher in game 1. So, no, DTW, it's a kicking ball. Every team has a K ball.
I have YouTube TV.
Johnny, were you not listening? Seriously, Mark just he said that. Literally, those words.
He might have just joined us.
I wonder if Andy cuts number 43 today. Oh, how about the kicker kicking it out of bounds? Score the go-ahead touchdown with 1:45 to go, and he kicks it out of bounds. Well, I don't know about gotcha back in it, Adam. I mean, it was 14 all at the time of the interception, but
that's the play that flipped the game.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't say got you back in it, but it flipped the game.
But when that play happened, you started thinking, wow, could we?
But Adam, I get it. You are one of the guys I get. When you root for a bad team, it is hard to ever see the glass as half full. It just is.
Well, I mean, when the Jags kicked the field goal to go up 3 and there's 8 minutes to go in the 4th, I mean, I think we all thought, well, the Chiefs are scoring. It's just a matter of, is it 3 or 7?
I obviously, like I said, I was listening early. The first 4th down by the Chiefs when they punted, were you guys saying go there, or were you guys cool with the punt? The 4th and 2 early, about the 45-yard line or whatever. First Chiefs punt early in the game. They punted, second,
Yeah,
three and out, and then they punted back.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I
was surprised.
Yes, Brad, that is, you know what? You are right. That is the tale of two franchises. That Coleman got benched for the first quarter for a reason they didn't disclose. It's the second time it's happened to him since he's been in Buffalo. The first time was for missing a meeting, and the Cardinals guy apologizes for yelling at his player who cost him a football game. Yeah, I think that's a valid point, Brad.
Very valid.
No, Puck. He showed up at our draft last year in full Jags gear. Do not question Adam's loyalty to his team. He is a Gator fan and a Jag fan. Life is hard on that man, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is. Yeah. It is just hard.
And you could see that's why he's like, wait a minute.
He's a fragile fan. Like the Dolphin fan's broken. Like Deadstroke, yeah, you're just broken. And I get it. But Adam, the rookie, we'll see if they're right with Liam Cohen. But I will tell you, you hear the post-game stuff, the way he acts, he seems to get it as someone leading a team.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our Shoeless Joe's poll question is out. You pick the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock games that get the volume for Shoeless Joe's on this NFL Sunday to come. And then show up in your team garb and get Bud and Bud Light specials as well. Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers. Pat Kirwan and Greg Wyshynski. Wait a minute. Isn't he a hockey guy? Yes! The NHL season. They dropped the puck on that sucker in about 10 and a half hours. The guy formerly known as the Puck Daddy will join us here on Miller and Moulton.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Uh-huh.
For our audience more than me, and I also want the answer, because we try very hard to cover all sports on this show, and I think we do a reasonably good job of it. More willing to say yes more often. Hockey guy, NASCAR guy.
Oh, wow. The NASCAR guy is never a no. The hockey guy occasionally travel gets in the way. But so the NASCAR guy is almost 100%. Hockey guy is probably 93%.
All right.
But hockey guy wants to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? The schedule just gets in the way. I mean, there's never a no. There's an apology, kind of like the Arizona Cardinals head coach. Okay, when hockey guy says no to us, okay, he feels badly. Why do you feel badly? Okay, you didn't do anything wrong. All right. The Arizona Cardinals head coach was apologizing.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jonathan Gannon said he apologized to that DeMarcado, the running back who cost him and that team a game. Make no mistake, it's going to be 28-6. Cardinals are winning that football game.
Yeah, under 13 minutes to go. It's over.
It only cost them the game, possibly a postseason, and maybe that coach's job down the road. But he apologized because the coach went off on him on the sideline.
Yes.
One of the players was kind of consoling DeMarcado, and Gannon came over and laid into him.
Yeah.
You know why? Because he was an undisciplined football player that deserved to be yelled at. But apparently today we can't yell anymore. Not even in football. We have to apologize. Unbelievable.
Apologized? Okay. I mean, there's two things I don't understand. A, he hasn't been cut. And B, Mark Sanchez hasn't been fired yet. What is taking people so long to do the obvious?
Well,
I know you don't want to cut the running back because you've got injuries at the position, but for goodness sakes.
Like I said originally, I would have cut him, but he's going to get paid for the whole year because he's under a guaranteed contract. I don't know if I can get him less pay by demoting him to the practice squad. So that's on that one. The other one, Mark Sanchez has a contract, and it's just not that easy. I don't know why. There's got to be a morals clause in it, but the lawyers are afraid for whatever reason, and I don't understand. I mean, I don't know if they're going to let him get out of the hospital before they fire him, but the one thing that did happen yesterday, and thank you to our good friends at the Cape Coral Police Department, because I reached out to the chief yesterday and said, got some questions. What do you think he was on? And, because David was convinced he was on drugs, and I just don't think so. I think he was just drunk. And the chief pretty much agreed with me because he said he doesn't look like he looks like a meth guy, and that would be the only drug he could see doing that. And secondly, he goes, be careful, because I'm like, why isn't it a felony? Because in Florida, it would have been a felony. If you assault someone over the age of 65, it's a felony. And he said, give it time. They could always raise the charges. They did. It's now a felony assault charge on Mark Sanchez, and we'll see when he's fired. I was surprised it wasn't yesterday. I don't know why it wasn't yesterday. It seems pretty simple to me, but that's that. As far as Jonathan Gagnon, the coach of Arizona, he spoke to the media and said, I woke up this morning and didn't feel great about it, honestly. So in the team meeting, I addressed it. I apologized to Amare, apologized to the team. I just told them I let the moment of what happened get the better of me. Yeah, your running back cost you a football game. What are you supposed to do? Hug it. It's, a guy's fumble. Guys make mistakes. Guys make penalties, all in working hard. That was being undisciplined and lazy and, quite frankly, stupid. He deserved to get yelled at. All right. We got a couple of minutes here. I want to talk some baseball. You all right with that?
Wow, what a wild morning this is. I could have sworn the Jags beat the Chiefs, and now you want to talk baseball?
David, that Phillies-Dodgers game was fun last night. It really had a little bit of everything, had guys moving, had a big defensive play, and once again, because we don't work on bunting, when they show their hand on the first pitch and the guy bunts it directly to the third baseman when they're running the wheel play, which Mookie Betts apparently called. He was the one that said, we've got to do this. The manager said, I'm in.
Right. The Hall of Fame outfielder playing shortstop for the year because it's in the best interest of the team. He made two terrific defensive plays in the ninth to help the Dodgers hold on against the Phillies.
They bring out Bader to to get a base hit. I mean, there was just a lot going on in that game. He's hurt. He comes in. That was fun last night. I was all in to Dodgers Phillies during the first hour, essentially, of the Monday Night Football game. That was fun. Wanted the Phillies to come back, basically, because I don't dislike a team in the National League. I don't care who wins these series. I would just like them to go 5. And then the Cubbies crush a 3-run homer in the top of the first inning. All right, here comes here come the Cubs.
Cubs put their hitting shoes on. You know how many hits they had the rest of the way?
How many, David?
1. Yeah.
Brewers shots by the Brewers. 7-3. The kid who was throwing BP for the Brewers the last month of the season, the rookie that was in the All-Star game, comes out and just throwing gas for 3 innings.
So this is how it works. See, if he makes 5 starts, Major League Baseball, because of injuries to a couple guys, they put him in the All-Star game. 5 starts. Ridiculous. Then he comes out of the All-Star game, throws batting practice for 2 months. They have to take him out of the rotation. They don't even know if they're going to have him on the postseason roster. They put him on the roster. They put him in the game last night in the second inning when it was 3-3. and the kid throws 3 2/3 of like one hit relief, and then the 4 relievers after him, they don't give up a hit either. So the Cubs hit a 3-run homer in the first and had 1 hit the rest of the way.
So a pair of 2-0 in the National League. The Yankees fighting for their lives tonight. Tigers in Seattle, the only series that's at 1-1.
4 o'clock for Mariners Tigers, 8 o'clock for Jays Yankees. And let me tell you something. With the way the Jays have beat up on the Yankees, they're 1 win away from bringing out the Pedro line. That's where, Aaron Boone in his season-ending presser is going to have to just sit down and say, I don't know what to say except, call them our daddy. Because they are pounding the Yankees this year. Whew.
Yeah, if the Yanks are going to come back in this series, they're going to have to win every game 8-6. They really, maybe 10-8, David. Really and truly.
I know. It's tough when you've given up 24 runs. Oh, for the 5-game series? No, we played 2 days in Toronto, 24 runs. Yeah. We're like the Yankees pitching against the Jays or the Ravens defense against everybody.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
EB, I don't know. I've only been to 2 of their games in the last 3 seasons, because of Monday Night Football. So I don't know. Well, not only that, and the Broncos have gotten some help. I mean, the Jags beating the Chiefs, but the Giants beating the Chargers. And that helped.
But they still have a division with the Chiefs in it. So I know the Chiefs lost, but I mean, let's slow your roll, Michael. Not putting an X next to a team. Their division's still good. It's not like they're playing in the AFC East.
Also, I think you played the Chiefs twice late.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. NHL season gets underway tonight.
Yes, it does. Ben McDonald on the show to break down the NHL season for you later today.
Those that missed it.
That, Ben, is a joke. That is a joke. What you said, Ben, was not a joke.
No.
It was from your heart. It was, you should have doubled down. In all seriousness, you should have doubled down and said, look, I don't watch. I respect the players. I don't watch the sport. I hunt. I fish. I've never been to a hockey game in my life. It was probably stupid for the announcer to tee me up for something he knows I have no interest in.
I think the announcer, because they worked together on all of those games, I think the play-by-play guy thought that Ben would play along.
Right, but he didn't.
No, not at all. And then he doubled
had the
down.
backtrack, and he sounds like an idiot. I was joking. No, you weren't. No, you were 100% serious, and that's okay. We know a lot of people don't watch hockey.
Right. But when you get your first, when ESPN, decides to give you the Cubs-Padres series, it's kind of a nice gig. They pay $400 million a year for that product that you have no interest in. Lie, fake it, something. Then again, maybe not. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
We begin with Duval. The Jacksonville Jaguars spotted the Kansas City Chiefs 14 points. And then they said, we got this. Devin Lloyd, when the game was tied at 14, late third quarter, picked off Mahomes, then avoided Mahomes, then worked his way out of a tackle and took it to the house. 99 yards for a touchdown.
Look, I know it was a quarterback, but that was a little more than avoided Mahomes. That was a nice little juke.
It was.
For a linebacker to make that move, that was pretty good.
99 yards for the touchdown to give the Jags the lead. Chiefs tied it. Jags kicked a field goal mid-fourth quarter, 24-21. Mahomes and the Chiefs, a beautiful drive, 6.5 minutes. Scored the go-ahead touchdown with 1:45 to go, 28-24. And you're like, come on. Trevor Lawrence and the Jags aren't going to do this to Mahomes and the Chiefs. That's not how this works. And not only that, the Chiefs are covering because they were 3.5-point favorites. This is how it's supposed to go down. Then the Chiefs kicked it out of bounds on the kickoff. Jags start on the 40. Trevor Lawrence makes one of the best throws of his NFL career to Brian Thomas Jr. deep down the right sideline, and they're in business. They end up with a pass interference penalty in the end zone. They've got 1st and goal at the 1, 30 seconds to go. No timeouts left for the Jags. Trevor Lawrence gets tripped on the snap. He falls down. He tries to get up. He falls down again. Down goes Lawrence. Down goes Trevor. And yet apparently the Chiefs were not rushing the quarterback. He had enough time to get up and avoided a tackle and dives into the end zone with 23 seconds left. Jags win. Jags win. They're 4-1. The Chiefs are 2-3. What in the wide world of sports is going on here? 31-28, your final. Other NFL news. Fox's Mark Sanchez now facing a felony for his altercation with the 69-year-old man in Indianapolis. So 1 felony, 3 misdemeanors that Sanchez is facing. The felony calls for 1 to 6 years in prison. Vikings Carson Wentz, who's been 2-1, by the way, in relief of J.J. McCarthy. Isn't that what we expect, Mark, out of the good backup quarterbacks?
Yeah, it does beg the question, who gives the Vikings the better chance to win going forward?
Bye week for the Vikes. Wentz emerged from the Cleveland game with a sore left non-throwing shoulder. J.J. McCarthy, after 3 weeks rehabbing the high ankle sprain, he's back on the field. The expectation is he will start in 12 days when the Vikings are ready to play again. LA Chargers place running back Omarion Hampton on IR with a high ankle sprain. He'll miss at least 4 games. So
they already lost Najee Harris for the year with the Achilles.
Right.
So the running back room in LA is really thin. Not to mention 1 offensive lineman done for the year, another one nursing a high ankle sprain.
You think the Chargers could call the Cardinals and acquire that running back who fumbled on the 1? No, that's what I thought of when I heard the news. I'm like, well, they need running backs, and goodness knows the Cardinals don't want to see this guy's face anymore. No.
Cardinals have their own issues at running back, though.
I know they do.
Goodness, they want him there because the coach apologized.
Right. Hey, I'm sorry that you cost us a game. Chargers' next opponent is the Dolphins. Head coach Mike McDaniel said that, he met with owner Stephen Ross after the game, as he always does, and that, quote, the owner is really frustrated. Really? Huh.
No kidding.
So,
here's the thing.
Yeah.
The Chargers have 2 what don't even seem like serviceable running backs. If you are a fantasy football player in need of a running back, flip a coin, do your research, grab one on waivers today, because the odds are he'll run for $140 against Miami.
One other football story on the college side. Mark, did you hear this Auburn story? So Auburn is scheduled to host Baylor next year. Remember, they started the season this year by going to Baylor and beating the Bears in Waco. Auburn is now moving next year's home game from the plains of Auburn to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Huh. Why would they do that? Because Jordan-Hare Stadium actually holds 15,000 more people than Mercedes-Benz Stadium does. Huh. Why would they do that? Mark, they're doing it because it's part of a Aflac Kickoff Classic, and Auburn is using Aflac's money to provide NIL revenue to its players. So Auburn moved the home game to a neutral site to take the corporate sponsors' money and give it to the players.
All right.
Wow.
Fan base will be very happy about that. I mean, there are only a handful of these home games, and there
Right.
are very rarely non-conference games that the fan base can say, "Ooh, I'm excited about that."
Yeah, it's
One of those games.
right. Oh, it beats hosting Jacksonville State or New Mexico State. I mean, it's Baylor out of the Big 12. Nope, gonna have to go to Atlanta to see
By
it.
the way, Auburn this year hosted Ball State, South Alabama, and on November 22nd, before the Alabama game, they've got Mercer coming to town.
See, I mean, when you've got a home schedule like that, you can certainly move a game against Baylor and make it neutral. Baseball. Dodgers scored 4 in the 7th, had a 4-0 lead. Phillies are coming back, 1 in the 8th, and then 2 outs, 2 runs. They got the tying run on second with nobody out. They try to butt them over to third. And the Dodgers work the wheel play, and Mookie Betts applies the tag. And the tying run is out. First and third, 2 outs. Trey Turner, who led the National League in hitting, grounds out to second. Dodgers go into Philly and win 2.
Great play by Fred. Sorry, Dave, but Freeman made a hell of a play at first because the throw on that ground ball by Turner was a one-hopper, tough to handle, and Freddie Freeman made a hell of a play to field that ball. I mean, a hell of a play. Should have been routine, but it was a bad throw.
It was a Steve Sachs throw. It's a Chuck Knobloch throw. Dodgers win 4-3. They're up 2 spit. Yamamoto will pitch in game 3 for the Dodgers. Meanwhile, Suzuki hits a 3-run homer in the top of the first for the Cubs. It's going to be the Cubbies' day. Not so fast, my friend. Andrew Vaughn with a 3-run homer in the bottom of the first. Contreras with a solo homer in the third ends up being the game winner. Jackson Chourio hits a 3-run shot in the fourth. And then the Brewers bullpen gives up 1 hit over the final 7 1/3 innings. 7-3 Milwaukee. They're up 2 spit on the Cubs. American League Division Series, a pair of game 3s today and tonight. Both of them on FS1. 4 o'clock, Tigers host the Mariners. That series tied at 1. 8 o'clock, Yankees try to stay alive against the Jays, trailing 2-0. So FS1, 4 and 8 o'clock for you baseball fans. Hockey fans, this season gets underway with an early bird special in South Florida. Panthers got their rings yesterday. They'll unveil the banner at 5 o'clock today. And then Florida will host the Blackhawks on ESPN. Penguins and Rangers in New York at 8 o'clock. The Avs and Kings at 10:30. All 3 games on ESPN. And some hockey news that's kind of big. Connor McDavid gave a home team discount to the Edmonton Oilers.
And then some.
Best player in the game, Kaprizov with the Wild, just signed for $17 million a year, and Connor McDavid kept his current rate of $12.5 million and a 2-year extension. So he's under contract for this year and 2 more at $12.5 million. He's not even the highest paid guy on his team.
I'm telling you, you Edmonton, you better go get him a goaltender. You better get him a little more help. I mean, this is like Brady and what he did for the Patriots.
Yep.
The money he's leaving on the table. And I'm greedy. I wouldn't have done it because I don't think they can win a championship, David. I don't think they're good enough.
And I'm with you, Mark. You got 3 years. I'd max the future.
You have to. You have to for Connor McDavid.
And not only
gave
that,
you a deal. And I mean a deal.
and by the way, when was the last time the Edmonton Oilers won the Stanley Cup? 1990. Do what you got to do.
The kid line loved that team.
The Lightning, that brawl you talked about in the preseason finale against the Panthers, the league took notice. They suspended 2 players for the Lightning. I mean, they're really a couple minor leaguers, though.
Right,
but
guys that weren't going to make the team.
Right. Scott Sauberin got 4 games. J.J. Moser got 2. They did fine the Lightning $100,000 and John Cooper $25,000, basically for being goons, because the 6 players that the Lightning called up for the game drew 77 minutes in penalties and 5 majors.
And the match penalty, too, I believe.
Right.
By the way, November 15th, Lightning at Panthers. It's the first regular season meeting.
And it's on.
And I'm already looking at tickets. The problem for me that I discovered while looking at ticket prices last night, the following Saturday, Edmonton's at Florida. Do you want to see the brawl or do you want to see the best player in the game?
Yeah, actually, we don't get brawls anymore. Give me the brawl.
Oh,
Give me the brawl. NBA announced that the All-Star game is going to be, at the new Clippers arena this year, and they're going to keep it, despite the investigation into the Clippers potentially circumventing the salary cap for Kawhi Leonard. Does anybody think that Adam Silver, I mean, by the way, I love the fact that the WNBA is yelling at their commissioner. Who do you think runs the WNBA? The NBA. Okay? Honestly, why don't you start directing your comments towards Adam Silver? He could correct it. Whatever your issues are, if he called down, it could be done. Anyway, 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories and a brawl here on Miller and Moulton.
Even without a game, David was able to slide at least 10 seconds of WNBA at you. There is no one that is a bigger proponent of women's sports on the planet than one David Moulton, and I mean that sincerely.
Just holding Adam Silver's feet to the fire. That's all. What a weasel.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And With a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, Adam, it's funny that you say that. We had a little work done and a new light put in, and I bought light bulbs for said light because the light fixture didn't say it contained the bulb, so I've got to go to Lowe's to return them. So maybe I will check out the Christmas right, easy for me to say decorations. In all seriousness, we may be the only house on earth that puts up some Thanksgiving. Like the Halloween stuff went up over the weekend. The wife and daughter did that. And my wife will make sure Thanksgiving stuff goes up first. We do not, there will be no Christmas until Thanksgiving is over. I saw it, Joe. I have to be honest, I don't care. Well, DC, I still think that the NBA negotiates those contracts.
Yes, at noon today, he's going to make some sort of announcement. Most people think it's him announcing this is his final season. But we shall see. That's funny, Adam. No, nothing annoys Mark more. I shouldn't say nothing, but top 10 things that aggravate Mark. The total passing over of Thanksgiving.
That's what I said. We're the only, I just was saying that before you put your headsets on. We're one of the few homes that will have Thanksgiving decorations up. We go right from Halloween to the fall stuff. The wife loves the fall stuff.
Now,
and the Halloween decorations in our house have to be happy. Not a lot of skeletons. They have to be pumpkins and things that aren't scary.
By the way, the Halloween decorations have been up for over 2 weeks in this house. We will have Thanksgiving stuff on the door and outside the door. The Christmas stuff will be out November 1st or 2nd.
You know, your wife of all people should really appreciate Thanksgiving more.
I know. She loves her Christmas.
I know.
But I'm with you.
No lights, EB. No lights. Just some. She's got a couple little cute things. We are not. I would say we are not massive decorators.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Duval. 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 2 Tuesday. Jags beat the Chiefs. Denver went into Philly, beat the Eagles. The Patriots went into Buffalo, beat the Bills. The Colts and the Jags are both 4-1. What the is going on? The Ravens are 1-4. Chiefs are 2-3. What is going on? Who took over the NFL? I demand an investigation. What the heck is going on here? Daniel Jones right now on the short list for league MVPs? What?
Certainly comeback player of the year.
Enough already. Wake me from this dream. Please. I mean, next thing you know, you're going to tell me that 3 of the top 4 teams in the preseason top 25 in college football are unranked in early October. I mean, really, enough already. Stop it.
We do this little thing with Shoeless Joe's every week where you, the fan, get to pick which game gets the volume at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe. So we've got 4 games up in the 1 o'clock slot, only 2 in the 4 p.m. slot, San Francisco and Tampa Bay, or Cleveland, or rather Cincinnati at Green Bay, Battle of the Bays. Tampa Bay is going to win that going away. But at 1 o'clock, we've got Dallas at Carolina. We've got Cleveland at Pittsburgh. A lot of fans of both teams in Southwest Florida where Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe is located. The Chargers at Miami. And Seattle at Jacksonville. And Seattle at Jacksonville with a dominant early lead. Wow. Look at Trevor and the boys with the win last night, turning around the fate of a franchise. Wow. They've beaten San Francisco. They've beaten Kansas City. And they look like they have figured some things out.
It's early. But, you know, do you think that Drake May and the boys going into Buffalo is a springboard for the Patriots? Do you think Trevor Lawrence and the boys going toe-to-toe with the Chiefs last night and overcoming 2 deficits, one 14 points early, the other 4 points late, is going to be a springboard for Trevor, even though it's year 5, and the Jags?
You know, in a way, I think the pass that he threw last night to Thomas was as much of a springboard as anything else. He's been missing that throw. That throw in particular, David, he's not been making. The deep ball, he's not hit it this year. And I get it, guys have dropped passes. And even the pass last night that should have been picked, that went off 17 guys and somehow ended up on the ground, he threw that behind the receiver. I know the receiver could have caught it, but he had a receiver open and he didn't throw it on stride. It nearly got picked off. They got a break. But that pass that he threw to Thomas, David, that was big. And he talked about it after the game. It was a pass that I think it was a short ball he'd thrown earlier. And Thomas came back and said, I've got him on the go. I beat him on the go. If we look at that again, I can beat him. And he trusted his receiver and he made a good throw. I thought that throw was particularly important for Trevor Lawrence. And I know there's more than that in a game. I get it. But to me, there are certain plays, and Trevor, despite their record, hadn't played worth a damn this year. He really hadn't. Completion percentage was 3rd from the bottom. Last night, he was 19 of 25. He was efficient. Yep, he got picked off once. Yep, he got sacked 3 times. But in crunch time, he was able to make throws. And everybody excited about Hunter making the great catch on the long pass. The juke he made on the 12-yarder was even more important. So I thought last night was big for Trevor because he was very efficient. You were in the booth. Troy is particularly not critical, honest about quarterbacks, I think would be the best way to put it. And I'm curious what if you talked to him at all after the game, because I know you talked to him before, and he was critical of throws that were missed by Trevor. What were and if you got any of his thoughts on his assessment of the way Lawrence played last night?
Well, it was tough not for Troy or anyone else who's been critical of Trevor to say, hey, he played really well. As you pointed out, Mark, he completed 76% of his passes. He rushed for at least 4 first downs also with his running game. I mean, they needed his ability to run last night. They really needed it. The Chiefs did a really good job of keeping the Jags running game, top 5 in the league so far this year, in check. I mean, it was late third quarter. Trevor Lawrence had more rushing yards than the whole rest of the team for the Jags. I mean, Kansas City did a very good job. And yet, Mark, I don't know how many times against a quality opponent that Trevor Lawrence has put the game on his shoulders or feet and led the Jags back. We all see the graphic that appears in the fourth quarter of a close game. How many comebacks a quarterback has in the fourth quarter or overtime? How many wins do they have? I don't know if it struck anybody last night if you were watching, but when Trevor Lawrence went on the field with 1:45 to go, down 4, the graphic appears. This is Trevor Lawrence's 5th season in the NFL. He's had 8 come from behind moments in the fourth quarter or overtime. Hell, Baker's got half of that this season. Okay, so they haven't done this much. Never mind against a quality opponent. Never mind it was 3rd and 13 when he hit Brian Thomas Jr. on that go down the sideline. And then came back, and I will say last night, Mark, boy, did he. You know how sometimes Trevor's footwork's not good and the ball sails on him and he misses? He could throw the out last night. He planted that back foot, and Mark, he ripped 3, back in the day they called them down and outs. He ripped off 3 12 to 15-yard outs last night with velocity in which you're like, wow, damn, he threw that one. All right, he ripped them like Elway used to rip an out. It was like, damn. Okay. So, yeah, Trevor was a winning quarterback last night. And against a quality team who went out of their way to beat themselves, though. I mean, what'd you say it was? 13 accepted.
13 penalties for 109 yards. The Jags, who entered the game, I believe, as the 5th best rushing team in the league, only had 109 yards for the game, and their leading rusher, as David just pointed out, was Trevor Lawrence.
I was going to say, he had half that.
Right.
Right.
He had 55 yards last night.
Right. Okay, but also the Jags, who were one of the most penalized teams in the league through 4 games, had how many? 4 accepted penalties last night?
4.
So strange goings on at Everbank Stadium. I think that's what they still call it. All right, in Jacksonville. And the Jags beat the Chiefs. Wow. Think about it. Denver goes on the road. They're down 14 in the 4th. And Bo Nix had not played well. And then all of a sudden, Bo Nix looked like a dude and leads the Broncos on 3 scoring drives. And they come back and beat Philly in Philly. Just their 2nd loss in the last 22 games.
The other thing to me that was really important for Jacksonville, they've been winning games because they've dominated the turnover margin. I mean, that's been the key to their success so far this season. They offensively haven't been great. They've run the ball really well. Trevor had been below average, but they were winning games because they won the turnover battle. Now, last night, the pick 6 was monstrous. Don't get me wrong, but they didn't win the turnover battle last night, and they still won the game.
And
that's big.
And even though Jacksonville had a remarkable, spectacular 99-yard interception return for a touchdown from Devin Lloyd. Mark, the two Jags turnovers cost them points in a big way. The Trevor Lawrence fumble at the 2-inch line, that's 7 points. And really 14 because the Chiefs then go 97 yards after the fumble and score a touchdown. And then listen, it shouldn't have been a pick in the fourth quarter. All right, it shouldn't have been. All right, it should have been pass interference on the Chiefs. They literally knocked down. They body blocked the receiver, knocked him to the ground, and the other guy caught the ball. Have no idea how the officials missed it. No idea at all. Okay, because it wasn't even his guy who knocked him down. It was a guy covering somebody else. I mean, but anyway, it was an interception. Jacksonville's got a 7-point lead early fourth quarter. Trevor throws a pick. A few plays later, game's tied. So despite the spectacular interception return for a touchdown, the Jags lost the turnover battle and lost the points off turnover battle in a big way.
But won the penalty battle. I mean, they were outgained in the game 476 yards to 319 yards. But you had the 99-yard pick six. You had 110 yards in penalties. All of a sudden, the game looks a hell of a lot more even. And Liam Cohn, I can't praise the guy enough. JP Shadrick comes on our show every week, and he talks not only about the videos that you all see, the postgame. One, he let one out after the loss. Coaches don't typically do that. But he's talked about since he arrived on the scene, how he has tried to change the culture. It is not easy to do, particularly for a guy who's never been a head coach before.
And he said, Mark, at his opening presser, we need to get tougher. At the line of scrimmage, we need to be able to run the ball. And also, this organization doesn't handle adversity well. We have to get tougher. Through the first 4 games, they were one of the best rushing teams in the league. And then the first time they can't run it and they're facing real adversity. Jags hadn't trailed by more than a score all year. They come back and beat the Chiefs?
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Todd and I are local. We're involved in our community. We live here. We work here. We're in our showroom every day. We love working with our guests. We love giving back to our community.
We are so excited about our new store. Same location, same team, new environment. Every day is like a grand reopening. Absolutely stunning when you walk through our doors now. Come experience the newness of the Diamond District. See what we've done.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I just take shots everywhere, David. John would have appreciated that more than Seth will, but the hell. So, David, the next 4 games for the New England Patriots at the Saints, at the Titans, home for the Browns, home for the Falcons. DTW, that's funny. That is funny. In fact, David, the next 7, because after that they go to the Bucs. So we'll give them a loss there. And I don't know if they win all 3 of those games, Saints, Titans, and Browns, but they'll be favored in all 3. Then they got the Falcons. So 4 winnable games at the Bucs. After that, home for the Jets, at the Bengals, home for the Giants. I mean, they could win at least 5 of those. Are they the surprise playoff team this year with everything that's going on?
Well, they were the trendy, hey, who's going to be this year's Washington? But none of us thought the Patriots were going to win 12. You know, that's what the Commanders did last year. They went from like 3 wins to 12. I mean, I think I had New England going to 8. I thought that was
and that still mean. And look at, I mean, at the Ravens should be a loss. Home for the Bills will be a loss. It will. At the Jets, home for the Dolphins to finish the season.
Right.
It's not just, you're right, Joe, it's a last place schedule, but it's also because that's only 2 games or 3 games, the 17th game and the 2 others. Right. It's the crossovers. You know, that's where they're getting the advantage. They're getting to play the AFC North, and the Bengals are now a grease fire. The Browns are the Browns. They get to play in their division, which the Jets and Dolphins are terrible. So you're right, but it's more than that. Outside of in this chat room, Left Twix, I mean, people who actually know football, still got two with the Chiefs. Have they played the Chargers? I mean, Chargers are going to get healthy.
Denver lost to the Chargers.
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
In LA. So they still have 2 with the Chiefs late. You know,
I mean,
that's why in theory, if the
Chiefs Jacksonville, that's not a pushover anymore. They've got the Packers. I mean, their last 4 are difficult, but I had them winning 10 before the season started, so I don't think 12's outrageous.
I had them winning the West.
And I had them tied with the Chiefs, and I had the Chiefs with the tiebreaker.
And I had them tied with the Chiefs and the Broncos with the tiebreaker. I think at 11. I think I had them at 11.
You had them winning 11, Michael, not 14? I'm shocked.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Pat Kirwan will join us at the top of the hour. And we'll look back at week 5 in the NFL, where home teams won just 4 games. But one of them was Jacksonville last night. The NHL season gets underway in 9.5 hours. The Panthers with an early bird special. And they hoist the banner for another Stanley Cup. They were given their rings last night. An ESPN NHL triple header beginning at 5 o'clock today with the Blackhawks and the Panthers.
Had to get that fantasy lineup set, David.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
I just do that to irritate him. I come on, I don't care about that stuff.
I'm just impressed that so you have a full league? I mean, really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I was asked, my good friend, your good acquaintance, Jim Blinko, the guy that owned the sports bar in Raleigh, where you did a million shows when you were traveling doing FGCU basketball all those years ago. Yep. You needed a spot in Raleigh because they had a couple of teams near there. I think Campbell was near there, and there was another school near there.
North Carolina Central, right. Whenever they played a game within like an hour and a half of Blinko's, I just did the show at Blinko's.
Yeah, you just stay in Raleigh and work out of that sports bar. And that area with getting Carolina, they started this league, and he called me up last year. He says, "You want to get in the fantasy hockey league?" I'm like,
unbelievable.
Sure, why not?
I would have been laughing so hard you would have had to send paramedics to the house. So I'm very impressed.
I had to get my son to help. He is an NHL goober.
Yes, he is.
So we team up on this. It is more his team than mine.
Baseball playoffs going on. Today is an American League Division Series day. A couple of game threes. Tigers and Mariners at 4 o'clock. Mariners got some injury issues that could really hamper them the rest of this series. And remember,
Detroit has some hitting issues.
Well, that's right. I mean
their catcher right now is batting .065 in the postseason.
But he frames the pitches really well, though, Mark.
He has one hit in the postseason
in 5 games, right?
They have two basically everyday players and one platoon player that are all hitting under .065.
Well, just try to bunch them together, boys. Okay, when you finally do get a hit, could 2 or 3 of you actually bunch them together? That would really help the cause. But 4 and 8 o'clock are the baseball playoff games today and tonight. I do want to bring up one baseball thing. So a buddy of mine texted me yesterday. He's a Yankee fan, but he's a huge baseball fan. And he said, "Did you see the baseball ratings?" And I said, "Yeah." And by the way, for those of you that didn't, viewership in the wild card round up 64%. Now, it's not every year the Yankees and the Red Sox play a 3-game series and it goes the distance. And oh, by the way, Mark, Game 3 Yankees and Red Sox on ESPN did 7.4 million.
Yeah, that's a monster number for a wild card round. I know it's Yankees Red Sox, but that's big.
Highest rated baseball game on ESPN in 4 years. The only thing that was bigger was a 1-game wild card matchup between the Yankees and the Red Sox 4 years ago. But 64%. Here's the biggie. Baseball in the 18 to 34 demo more than doubled their numbers. More than doubled. And you can't say, well, it was the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Yankees make the playoffs every year for 30 years. It's not like this is a first-time thing. And the Red Sox, 4 World Series in this century and what have you. I mean, it's the third time the Yankees and the Red Sox have met in the playoffs in 7 seasons. So, it's not like this is 2003, 2004 again. But young people, Mark, and listen, even the NFL, we've talked about it. You've noted it to many of our listeners that are like, why are they doing Bad Bunny for halftime of the Super Bowl? The only demo that the NFL has problems with, people under the age of 35. That's why they book the acts that they do at halftime of the Super Bowl. They ain't trying to reach you. They're trying to reach your kids, your grandkids. That's who they're trying to reach.
He's the most streamed artist on the planet right now, along with Taylor Swift. Man, I don't know what to tell you. You can hate on it all you want.
Yep.
I don't know any of his music. You could play it for me for the next 2 hours. I wouldn't recognize a damn song. But
Right
they're
there
not doing it for us. Get
Nope.
over it. Get over it.
Mark.
It is the most idiotic thing that people in the sports world get pissed about in the world. It really is to me. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
It's just something to complain about for the sake of complaining.
don't watch. Go eat.
Exactly.
Go to the bathroom. Call your friend who's also watching the game. I mean, it's 15 minutes. Relax. All right. Anyway, so my buddy sends me this text all excited because he loves baseball. And he's only a few years younger than me. He's in his mid-50s, or at least early 50s. And I then say to him, well, enjoy it, because after next season, we're going to have a lockout, and it's going to be a doozy. And he's like, why do you have to be so negative? And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. It just is reality. Here's what I'm wondering, Mark, though. If Rob Manfred right now is on a mission to get some kind of salary cap, but also this is his last CBA negotiation. This, whatever he can get done over the next 3 years, is his legacy. Okay, he's bringing the ABS computerized umpiring into the game and what have you. You know, he's changed the wild card round to a best of 3. He's expanded the playoffs to 12 playoff teams. Manfred and baseball have had a lot of change. They've done a lot in the fifth. I think he took over as commissioner in 2015. So he's going to do 13, 14 years as commissioner. But this is going to be his legacy, this CBA, however it works out. If you're Manfred, okay, and everything, the pitch clock, and what was it done to do? To bring in more viewers, to bring in younger viewers. You've knocked a half hour off the pace of your games. It's working.
Your numbers are up and your attendance is up.
4 straight years attendance is up across the sport.
I mean, that's, you know, these are relevant things to this sport. And as we've talked about on this show for 10 years, while baseball numbers on the whole this year, they're up in the playoffs, I get it, and they've been up all year. Baseball in individual markets dominates local television everywhere. Every single damn market that baseball's in the summertime, there's nothing else to watch. It dominates the ratings.
And I'm just wondering if you're Manfred and you're looking, I mean, years of work and the fights that you've done behind the scenes, and what you're getting is working. Can you really afford a work stoppage? I mean, really? I mean, you and I are hockey fans. They've had a couple work stoppages. One that was absurd. One the sport needed. They shut it down for a year, and they needed to. Bettman was right. What he was fighting for was right, and he got it. It took shutting the sport down. What in the world is worth shutting the sport down right now for in baseball?
Well, David, as we've talked about, this is a twofold negotiation period for Manfred. And I would be desperately getting the owners together now.
Yes.
Silently. Don't let anybody know. But the owners have to negotiate amongst themselves before they can negotiate with the Players Association, because the small market teams and the large market teams are very far apart of what they want. Remember, while he wants a salary cap, it's not the Yankees and the Mets and the Phillies and the Dodgers that are as opposed to it as the Marlins, the Rays, and the small market teams, because with a cap comes a floor. And we don't think he's ever going to get that with the owners, let alone the players. But he's got to work his tail off right now, David, to get the owners at least somewhat on the same page. So when they go negotiate with the players, the owners are on the same page. Miller and Moulton. We've got a couple of poll questions up there for Shoeless Joe's. What game do you want to watch?
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to NolanAgency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or NolanAgency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, Sonny, you're probably right, but I'm telling you, I've seen Illinois teams that were not nearly as good as this Buckeye team. You know, one beat Ohio State and two, for whatever reason, Illinois, I believe, and I'd have to look it up, but I think Illinois played Ohio State pretty tough when it's in Illinois, for what it's worth. See if I can get a little backup here from the Bible. I guess I'm wrong. Buckeyes are only 2 games over 500 against the spread on the road in the last 10 years, but they have been beating up on Illinois. I guess I just remember it because the last time they lost, I was in Ohio, and that's actually a long time ago. It was at my Aunt Martha's funeral in Illinois beat Ohio State, and I was in Ohio, and it made me laugh very hard because all of the Buckeyes that were there were pissed off, and my dad and I got a big kick out of it. Man, you're getting 7.5 with Florida. A&M, that's interesting.
USC's favored against Michigan. Interesting.
What's it like? 2?
2.5. And I'm on an athletic article, so I don't know if these numbers are completely accurate, but it says they've all been updated in the last 30 minutes. So I do find it funny, and I could be way off on this, David, and stop me if you think I am, but they're coming out, Feinbaum does the interview with Outkick, talks about the president, and boy, are people coming out of the woodwork, not just McShay, but all these people are starting to pile on Feinbaum. Never did for 5-8 years, and now he makes his affiliation well known, and they're all coming after him. I don't know. Doesn't seem like a coincidence to me.
I don't think it is either.
Because there's plenty of reasons to go after Paul for the last 5 years.
Right.
Plenty of reasons.
Right.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes until Pat Kirwan is to join us here on Miller and Moulton. Greg Wyshynski from ESPN. He covers hockey. And you're like, well, what the hell are you having him on for? I mean, nice guy.
I asked the same question yesterday, everyone.
Stop it. Stop it. We're having him on because the NHL season gets underway in 9 hours and 22 minutes. That's why. Yeah.
And right now, you could argue, and I believe successfully argue, that the best rivalry in sports at this given moment is in the sport of hockey, and it's between two teams in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And Ottawa and Montreal are going, what in the hell are you talking about?
Sorry, you guys are second right now. You got nothing on the Panthers and the Lightning, or the Lightning and the Panthers, depending on your point of view.
You were talking baseball ratings a moment ago. Some of the football ratings from the weekend have come in. And the Florida State-Miami game was the number one draw. You had your biggest game of the year on CBS, over 5 million people. 2 weeks ago, actually, for the Michigan-Nebraska game. That was your biggest game of the year.
I'm curious how the 25-point upset did.
Yeah, I know. Looking forward to seeing that too. But that's some. We talk a little ratings on the show, maybe too much for some of you, but we pay attention to it.
Mark, I'm going to give you the blind resume test, and you tell me what coach and school I am talking about. He is 2-8 against top 10 teams at his current school. He's 5-18 all time against top 10 teams. Last year, he played just one conference team who finished the season ranked and lost to that team twice. Who am I talking about?
I have no idea. I want to say Sunbelt Philly, but I don't think that's the answer. It's too many games.
2-8 all time against 2-8 at his current school against top 10 teams, 5-18 all time against top 10 teams, and he's been head coach of a couple of big programs.
Is it Lane Kiffin?
It's not Lane Kiffin. And it's too obvious, so it's not James Franklin.
I knew that. I knew you weren't giving me a layup.
And last year played only one conference team who finished the season ranked and lost to that team not once but twice. We're talking Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
At Texas. 2-8 against top 10 teams while at Texas. 5-18 against top 10 teams all time. Wasn't he the head coach of USC before Texas? Last year only played one SEC team that finished the season ranked. That team was Georgia. How did they do against Georgia? They lost to Georgia twice. Basically pointing out, are we sure it's just James Franklin who should be catching some of the grief or all of the grief that he's catching? How much better are these numbers than James Franklin at Penn State? In the area code, huh?
They are definitely in the area code.
So just wanted to throw that one out there.
By the way, Texas takes on Oklahoma Saturday. Texas is a 3.5-point favorite.
I know Mateer's out. I got it. Have you watched them play this year? Also, Texas does not have a win against a Power 4 school. They don't. They're like Penn State. Penn State's 3 wins were against FIU, Villanova, and Nevada. All right? Look at Texas's 3 wins. And look at who they're against. The two. Now, Sarkisian made a good point at his presser yesterday. He said, I'll tell you what, there's 135, 37 teams. You have them go to Columbus and the Swamp, and you tell me how many of them pick up W's. Okay? Well, I mean, we could.
South Florida got
Florida
for what it's worth.
This is where you want someone in the room to go, well, South Florida would have. Boom!
Right. I mean,
boom!
South Florida went 1-1 against, you could argue, just as good of opponents because they went to Miami as well. Maybe you should schedule better. I don't know.
Here's another one. All right. One guy in 60 games, his first 60 games, is 41-19. The other one was 2 games worse, 39-21. The 41-19 guy has 2 wins against top 10 teams, while the 39-21 guy had 5. Jimbo Fisher is the other guy at Texas A&M. His buyouts was $76 million. A&M paid it. If you're wondering, Steve Sarkisian's buyout is $45.4. This season seems to be going really well in Austin.
And David, you know, I love that you bring up a little bit of older coaches, but you have to throw on top of that when you talk about Sark that by all accounts, they're spending the most money, or at least top 5 money on their roster. You could throw a few other schools in there. Ohio State, I mean, Texas Tech's spending like they've got it, but Texas is spending the money. So you better beat Oklahoma on Saturday.
Just saying, James Franklin's taking all the heat.
And deservedly so.
Yes.
He lost to UCLA. Because if you look at the record, and I read the article and have the numbers in front of me because David and I don't produce this show, and we just go where we go. But Franklin is, up until Saturday, James Franklin beat every team he was supposed to beat.
Right.
He lost the big game. It's well documented what he's done against ranked opponents. But the one thing James Franklin really never did while he was at Penn State was lose a game like he did Saturday. That didn't happen.
Quite frankly, I mean, he didn't even lose the games that he's 7 to 10 point favorites in. You know, go to Minnesota. Yeah, James will win those games. Okay, yeah, that's a
Ohio State. If it's Michigan, if it's Oregon, he didn't win them.
No, he doesn't win them. Right. Now, listen, it's a long ways away, but we feel sometimes on this show, Miller and Moulton, we're public service announcements. We try to give you as many days advance warning notice so that you can begin negotiating, plotting with the people and events that are scheduled in your life. This is a really good college football Saturday.
There are a bunch of fascinating games to me. Like, I look at what Alabama's had the last 2 weeks. They went to Georgia. We all know they won a big game against the Dogs because they always beat Georgia. That's just what they do. And the final score may have, if you didn't watch Vanderbilt and Alabama and you just saw the final score, you think they armbarred them. That game was still a game mid-third quarter, and Alabama pulled away. Now they have Missouri. Missouri, what's their record, David?
Believe it's 5-0, Mark.
It is. It is. And they got the quarterback that was the backup at Penn State and paid him his NIL money. And he didn't play in the final game because he transferred.
Right.
He wasn't there for
the semifinal loss to Notre Dame. Right. These are some of the games scheduled for this Saturday. Obviously, I mean, game day is going to be in Oregon, Indiana, and Oregon. Spread's 10, by the way. Texas, Oklahoma, Red River shootout. Okay, they can call it whatever they want. It's a shootout. It's at the Cotton Bowl. All right. Florida goes to A&M. Michigan goes to USC. Georgia visits the Plains to take on Auburn. Mark, what's the Georgia-Auburn game again?
It's the oldest rivalry in the South, David. This
Thank
one
you.
means a lot to both schools. People don't, if you're not fans of either of those teams, you don't understand just how big this game is.
Utah is playing Arizona State, and BYU is a pick'em at Arizona. A couple of good Big 12 games. You already mentioned Alabama's at Missouri. And, hey, do any of us think they're going to win? No. But Ohio State's going on the road to play a Big Ten team with a pulse. Ohio State's going to Champaign to take on Illinois. Now, there are
Buckeyes have won 11 straight against Illinois, but the Illini getting a bunch of points. 14.5 is what Vegas thinks about this game.
They get opened at 16. So it's a lot of points, but I mean, those are the, it's a very solid Saturday. If any of that interests you, make your plans, start your negotiations today, tomorrow. Just saying.
A game closer to home. There was a guy that co-hosts a radio show that was really high on this ACC team. They've largely disappointed, but they played well last week. And they're getting 10.5 at Doak after Florida State just played the biggest game of the year. I don't care about Alabama. Miami means more. Pitt comes to town. And they run it okay. And Florida State has trouble stopping the run.
Quite frankly, Florida State should run the table to the Gator game. I mean, am I missing something?
No.
Is there anybody on that schedule that they're not going to be favored against the rest of the way?
They'll be favored for every game until they play the Gators.
So, 9-2 when they're taking on the Gators. I mean, Florida State fan would take that, right? After 2-10. Hello. But anyway, does it qualify as sexy? I think it does. Okay. It may not be, whoever's on your A list. It may not be a Halle Berry Saturday. Okay.
I can't wait to see who he's calling this now. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm dying because I'm giving him a little time here. I'm letting him work through the mental Rolodex of who he's going to go.
I had someone at the tip of my tongue. Okay. But I think it's
You're going to say she's in that film with that guy and did that thing?
No, that's very funny though. But I think it's a Scarlett Johansson Saturday. Okay. I do.
Wow. That's pretty sexy.
It's not the A list, but I think it's the B+ list. So
maybe A-.
Maybe
selling her a little short. If you
remember, Mark, I grew up in Jersey. 92 was the B+ in Jersey. You had to get to 93 to be an A. Okay, none of this, 90 to 100 stuff. No. We had to get to 93. So I grade on the Jersey scale.
Miller and Moulton. We've got our poll questions up. You get to choose the game that gets the volume at Shoeless Joe's. They're the sponsor of our poll question. We've got 4 1:00 games. Dallas at Carolina, Cleveland at Pittsburgh, the Chargers at Miami, or Seattle at Jacksonville. And right now, the Jags getting 70% of the vote, and the Steelers game only getting 6% of the vote. Wow.
Duval.
And then Tampa Bay is hosting San Francisco, and Green Bay is hosting Cincinnati. In the Battle of the Bays, it's Baker. The answer is Baker. 95% of you say the answer is Baker. The more you see him, I mean, he's John with fans before.
Yeah, you see that?
Then taking receipts and yelling at the fan after the game. I love him. I flippin' love Baker. Todd Bowles smiled in a press conference. I don't know if you caught that.
Did you catch Pat's interview with him on his show yesterday?
I did.
Which he said, listen, I don't know how to tell you this. There's video of you smiling on the sidelines. Are you going to be okay with that? He laughed. Pat Kirwan joins us coming up at the top of the hour, by the way.
We'll break down what happened in week 5. May even look ahead to Thursday night's game. Yeah, just 2 days away. We start this all over again. They fly through us pretty quickly. And Greg Wyshynski to talk the National Hockey League.
Season starts in 9 hours and 7 minutes. Ready or not, here we come.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower is so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Good morning, fellas.
Hi, Pat.
It's good to see you guys.
How are you?
I was thinking, David, you had it made last night. How fast were you home?
11:48.
Oh man, I said to Janet, I go, he is taking a nice slow ride home. How great was that?
As soon as that last pass hit the ground, I was already packed up. Okay. I just kind of tapped Troy. I was out of the booth, down the hall. Don't know if you've been there. There's one elevator to leave the press box. It holds about 8 to 10 people. I got on the first, boom. All right. Down, out, in my car, went around the traffic. They were all going left. I went right, made one illegal left-hand turn. Mile later, I'm on I-95. Bada bing, bada boom.
The only thing that missed, and Mark and I would have loved it, what you just described, it would have been so great if it was on Halloween and you were in a costume fighting the elevator. I think that's the one I want to see. An illegal left, and you know what? Maybe, I don't know what costume would be appropriate for what you tried to pull off there, but kind of like bank robber with a mask. I think that was the one.
That is fantastic.
So somehow that came up in the booth last night. And this year, Halloween's a Friday. Next year, it'll be a Saturday. The following year, it'll be a Sunday. Then the 28th year is a leap year. So it goes all the way to Tuesday. So my next chance, because I don't think you can wear a costume on November 1st. Okay. So to me, I don't think I have a chance to wear a costume again for 3 more years. I'll be almost 63 years old. Don't you think that's a little...
Not sounds like divine intervention to stop the costume outfit. To stop. I'm telling you, and as you described yourself scurrying down the hall to get the little elevator, I wish you were in some kind of froggy costume or something.
That's great.
Let the guy on. There's something wrong with this dude. Good game, though. I was lucky. I picked Jacksonville. Jim was like, oh, yeah.
You know, and I didn't have the guts. I picked him against San Francisco, and I didn't have the guts.
Nope.
So Jim said to me on the air, he goes, all right, how are you getting your team? He was being sarcastic. How are you getting your team ready? I said, I've already thought about this. Team meeting. Everyone's sitting in the seats. And I go, okay, Hunter, stand up. Brian, stand up. And Trevor, stand up. And then I'm going to go, hey, fellas, if you guys play crappy, we're going to lose. Sit down.
It's the first really good game Trevor's had all year.
Well, I could go past a year. It might be 2 years. It might be his career. Was that the best game of his career? Because I think they were at a defining moment, by the way. But
I don't disagree. I'm right there with you. And you know, Pat, I know you're not high on rookie head coaches, and all the data backs you up. Every once in a while, a team gets it right. And I only hear the interviews, but I listen to his post-game talks. And we have a Jags guest on that does pre and post there who works in the office every day. This guy came in and demanded the culture change, if you will. Yep. And they're winning early, but he says and seems to do the right things.
Yes. And Dan Campbell was that kind of guy. Yeah. But there are not a lot of them. And the problem, and you'll appreciate this, Mark, the problem is the guys who run the interviews to hire the head coaches don't know how to identify that.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Joined once again by Pat Kirwan, he of NFL Radio's Move of the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat and all our guests, like Greg Wyshynski in 35 minutes, join us on the American Paint Supplies hotline. Pinchers, a proud sponsor of Pat Kirwan's twice-a-week appearances. Pinchers from Tampa to Key West and all points in between. Pinchers where you can't fake fresh. How about the Jags?
How about the Jags? Fired up to see it happen. I always wish good things for teams that are struggling. That was a breakthrough for them, in my opinion. A lot of pressure on them. But here's the question, the bigger question to you, David. I'll go there first. So I asked myself this morning at 6 a.m., is there a changing of the guard? I don't want to overreact here. But when you start, and I'm talking about the AFC, the big roadblock with those great quarterbacks. But all of a sudden, Denver and the Chargers are right there and moving past the Kansas City. New England made a statement win in Buffalo. They're only one game behind Buffalo. Pittsburgh is back where they should be. Jacksonville and Indy are leaving Houston behind. Are we, and maybe it's too early to say it, but I'm watching a bunch of AFC teams that are making their move against a big set of quarterbacks. Your thoughts on that?
Well, and what's interesting to me is every team that you've mentioned that may be on the rise is doing it with quarterbacks that basically are between years 2 and 5 of their careers. So, Josh Allen brought the Bills up at beginning in his third year. We all know Mahomes' second year, first as a starter. Look what he did for the Chiefs. Okay. Lamar took him a couple years, but his third year, I think, as a starter, they were the 1 seed in 2019. So, Pat, along those lines, maybe it is the next generation of AFC quarterbacks that are beginning the changing of the guard.
Yeah, it's early to have this conversation, but I sat there this morning thinking about what I saw last night, what I saw from New England, what I recognize in Denver with their defense of theirs that's just awesome. And I started thinking, I said, man, this is something there's something going on here, and we'll see if they can sustain it. Mark will temper my inquisitiveness with. It's a little early for this, but it's something I'm going to keep my eye on, because that big roadblock of quarterbacks, name Allen and Lamar and all of them, they're being threatened. Mahomes, they look like that team that is pointed south a little bit last night. They should never have been in a battle with Jacksonville, but Jacksonville gave them all they could handle. So anyway, what we made about last weekend,
and
upsets.
What amazed me about last night specifically, Pat, is that the Chiefs don't beat themselves. That is what Andy Reid teams are all about. 13 penalties for 109 yards. Jags got as many yards rushing the ball last night, with Trevor Lawrence being their leading rusher, as they did on penalty yards. That was not a normal Chiefs performance, just from that standpoint. So that surprised me. They don't give up leads. That surprised me. There were a lot of things about that game that you look back upon. But for Jacksonville, and I said this to you before we started, Pat, most rookie coaches don't get it right. They just don't. You have the data to prove it. And you've turned me around on that, because I got sick. I'm a hockey guy. I got sick of all the damn retreads in hockey. But hockey has a little different system. There's the minor leagues. There's a guy that can learn how to coach for 4 or 5 years, and the John Cooper and Tampa Bay of the world can come and do the job, because you know what? They've been a head coach for 10 years, just not at the highest level. Well, that doesn't happen that way in the NFL. But Liam Cohn, he's changed the culture, and he started it in July. And we talked to JP Shadrick every week on their show, and he's brought it up. Not all of the rookie coaches get it right. Aaron Glenn's not getting it right. He's trying to change the culture, and they're getting killed by everybody. So what is it that you see that Liam Cohn's doing so right now, Pat?
Well, he's not the same style as Dan Campbell, but we talked about this. Dan did it in a place that was as hard to do it as any place in the world, your hometown. So you gotta convince guys. You have to naturally be a salesman about being honest about what you've done wrong all these years. And it might I learned this from Parcells. Parcells did not assume anything. He even scrutinized the guys who cleaned the building. I mean, nobody wasn't under the microscope. The bus driver to the airport, the guys who cleaned the building, the security cop, he either didn't want you talking to the players, or once you met with his approval, you could be part of it. Even his scouts, he didn't let scouts out to practice. They were in a room watching tape during practice. I never saw anything like it. Why? He didn't want people looking at what he was building and then interpreting it or leaking that out to other people. So I think Liam is a natural leader. He's a little bit of, I wouldn't call him a wise guy, but he has a quick tongue. He's used it on some people this year already. On the point you made about Kansas City and the things you're not used to seeing, are you used to a 2-3 record?
No, but I'm not as worried about that as others are.
I'm not worried about it either, but now you have to start asking yourself, and this is right up David's history line, can they win the division the way they're going?
Well, they played Denver twice late in the year. Something to keep in mind. If they can stay within, if Denver's the team that emerges between the Denver and the Chargers, because the Chargers' injuries are really adding up. Both tackles, their top two running backs. This is starting to get serious with the LA Chargers. So let's just say Denver's the team that emerges. Kansas City needs to be within 2. They can then still control their own, business, so to speak. Here's what I think is telling, Pat. What were they the last 2 years in one-score games? Last year, they were historically great in one-score games. They're 2-3 this year. All 3 losses were one-score games. And that, to me, is showing they're not what they used to be. The slippage may not be big, but the margin of error was a lot smaller than the 15-2 record shouted. And so a 10 to 15% slippage, and that's a 3-point win turning into a 3-4-point loss.
I agree with that. So let's take the last play of the game and we'll move on. Trevor stumbles twice. And where is Spags' pressure defense that has a free blitzer? That they couldn't get to him to get him and tag him down and be over. The game would be over. He was able to get up off 2 stumbles and run it in.
Well,
that doesn't happen to a Spags defense.
2 things here, if I could. One, they're calling it in Jacksonville. The Jags sent out a meme that said, can we call it the slip 6? All right.
Oh, very nice.
Instead of the pick 6 or kick 6 or what have you. But secondly, and this is an indictment, watch Chris Jones on that play. He dogs it. He quits on it. Okay. And if he had given a full effort, Trevor doesn't get in the end zone. That's an indictment. That's you show that play in the film room and you just turn and look at the supposed second best player on your team and go, what the blank?
Yep. Well, this is not the first time, Mark, that we've talked about Chris Jones this year.
Yeah, you bring it up damn near every week, Pat.
He went inside on that first loss and gave up contain, and they walked in. All right, enough of that game.
All right, I want to talk about
a lot of tag time in David's hometown.
I want to talk about something completely different, though. I want to talk about Arizona. And, Buffalo sat Coleman for the first quarter for disciplinary reasons. Now, they lost the game, but Buffalo did the right thing. They see a player that's screwing up. I'm sorry, you're sitting. You're not allowed to do this. Arizona has a player cost them the football game. If it's 28-6, Pat, you and I and everybody else knows that game is over. The coach, Gagnon, rips him on the sideline. I'm all for it. Then he apologizes?
Yeah.
What's he apologizing for? What does that show that team? Pat, that game could be the difference between Arizona making the playoffs and not making the playoffs. It's kind of a big deal.
It's more than a big deal. And those words of his that one play doesn't lose a game. Yes, it does. You may want to believe that, or you want to say it publicly, but that play lost the game. So my rule after all my years in the league, what would Parcells do? That
He
if
would
you
cut
just
him.
ask yourself that, you'd have the answer, and it'd be the answer you want, Mark.
He cut his best receiver on a team that would win the Super Bowl 6 weeks later because he fell asleep in a team meeting. He had been the best receiver on the team for 7 years. He cut him on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah. And what would he have done? And I want to just add one thing on that little changing of the guard thing. And I do appreciate Mark's point about the young head coach, and Cohen's a good example. But Denver hired a veteran coach. The Chargers hired a veteran coach. New England hired a veteran coach. And they're in the middle of doing some positive things.
And look at New England's schedule. They have one game against what you would call a quality opponent out of their next, I believe, 8 games. New England could go on a little run here, and they're a team. We all tried to figure out who was going to be Washington this year. It damn well could be the New England Patriots.
Yeah, and Drake May, Josh McDaniels was born to be an OC. Never a head coach. He's failed at that a couple times, but he is a good OC. He's got this kid up and running and looking quite good right now. They're going to get their money's worth out of Drake May.
Did you see that throw he made rolling to his right? Okay, and deep down the field into tight coverage. Wow, that was a top 5-6 quarterback in the league throw.
It is, and he doesn't run a lot, which is smart, but he is athletic enough to avoid stuff, reset pockets outside, look downfield. Josh is doing a great job with him. All right, I got asked this question. You're going to get asked by me. If you had to vote today for the MVP, who would it be?
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah,
that's you and me. There it is. Anyone else have a choice? I have options, names for you. Goff, Allen, Puka, Jonathan Taylor.
Danny, Indiana Jones, Danny Dimes, put him on the list.
Yeah. Oh, man, I'd like to have his contract this year.
The other one, David, you said yesterday, but by play, Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Pat, I will say no one in the league's playing better than Dak Prescott. They may go 7-9-1, but nobody's playing better than Dak Prescott. He's Pat Kirwan. More with Pat on the other side. NFL Radio moving the chains. NFL Today Show. Pat Kirwan.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Football season is back, and celebrate your game day with Jimmy the Beef Guy. We're talking tender, juicy Chicago beef sandwiches. Whether your party's for 10, 100, or 200, bring game day to your house with Jimmy the Beef Guy. The catering packages come with the beef, the gravy, the peppers, the bread, everything you need. 2 convenient locations, Fort Myers and Bonita Springs. Skip the ordinary and bring the beef. Jimmy the Beef Guy, Chicago flavor, Southwest Florida style. Call today or visit jimmythebeefguy.com. Tell him Miller and Moulton sent you. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, that Bucks game was fun.
Talking to Bowles, it's funny because right in the middle of our conversation yesterday, he reminded me, which I forgot, but you guys wouldn't. He drafted Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't realize that until he said it. I listened to your interview with him yesterday. I got to tell my daughter on the ride home, you got to be quiet. I need to listen to this because I know it's 3:00 on Monday. I know it's like I get in the car. I'm like, all right, just you got to give me a second, honey.
Well, he is such a good guy, and that pressure call at the end of the game, which forced Sam to step and throw and then hit the helmet. They had not been blitzing much all game.
Give Darnold credit, by the way, post game. He said, yeah, I didn't see that pressure coming out of that look. That's on me. That's totally on me. I'm the one that sets the protection. It's my fault.
Yep. He's grown up. He's a regular man now, and he played extremely well in that game.
Pat, I just sent you something.
Okay. You text me or email?
I
there it is. There
it
it
is.
is.
But it's up close of the.
Oh yeah. I see it. Yeah, well, you're right about it, but it's getting to be a pattern now. And remember when he got ripped last week by the coach on the sideline?
Yeah, well,
the game I was at, and he was late. He had to go to the funeral and all that stuff, and then he was getting destroyed on him, and he was being a baby about it. Yeah. So sad.
And they're stuck. That's a problem.
Wow.
That's a big cap hit.
Oh, yeah.
For this year and next.
Yep. Well, to me, and I'm assuming this hasn't happened, but it probably has. He needs to be in Andy's office with the door closed. And this has to be Andy and him. And maybe with all the cut-ups of these plays. You want to explain this stuff to us? What are you thinking? The only one who can save him and get him back is Andy.
You know what I'm wondering, and this is very un-Andy-like, and I don't know, LaRock, 43, he had 3 consecutive penalties called on him on special teams. The last one, which I didn't necessarily think was a penalty, but they crucial because instead of starting at the 37, they're starting inside the 20 with 23 seconds to go there. I'm wondering if Andy cuts him. I'm wondering if Andy, needs to just get a little bit of attention because I don't think he's a guy who's, plays outside of special teams much.
No, those are the kind of guys that you can do it, and it's not going to be a negative for your team. He'll defer to Dave Tobe on that. If Dave says I need him for blah blah blah, then they won't. But hey, how about when they try to call 2 timeouts in a row?
I know, and Andy was the one who called the second one.
Yeah, that's a different issue. Yep. All I know is, was I entertained by Carolina beating Miami, New Orleans beating the Giants, Denver beating Philly, New England beating Buffalo, Tennessee beating Arizona, and Jacksonville beating Kansas City?
Wow, I tell you that. I mean, I watched that whole Philly game, and Knicks had a great fourth quarter. He looked like crap for 3 quarters, couldn't hit anybody, but that Denver defense is special.
So, it came up yesterday.
Here, we're coming back. We'll do it on there. We'll do it on there. We're coming back in 5 seconds.
He goes all line doesn't look like
that. Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat, like all our guests, including Greg Wyshynski, in a little more than 15 minutes, join us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Pat is specifically sponsored by Pinchers. All right, you can go big picture, you can go small picture here. We just talked a lot about the Chiefs and what about them is different. Pat, it didn't show last year, but it's been a while since somebody has done to the Eagles' offensive line what the Broncos' defense did on Sunday.
Yeah, it has. And it's also, I think the Eagles set themselves up for this problem. If you want to get my opinion, and I'll tell you why. They're not a passing team. We'll all agree on that. But if you look at what their intentions were, I almost felt like they were responding to the pressure that Brown put on the whole organization that they weren't throwing the ball, because you cannot deny these numbers. Here's the series in the game. First series, 3 pass, no run. Second series, 7 pass, 4 run. Third series, 5 pass, 3 run. The next series, 6 pass, 1 run. They get to halftime, and guess what it is? 24 pass, 8 run. That is not the Eagles. And what came with that? 6 sacks. Those sacks was what you're talking about, the breakdown of the line. Were they trying to prove they could throw the ball? Because they proved they can't.
Hurts was 23 of 38, and to your point, Barkley only rushed the ball 6 damn times. That's not how the Eagles win, Pat.
No, they have a formula, and from the very beginning of the game, you always have to check the first 3 series. That's the intention of what they want to do. There was no reason to be throwing the ball 15 times and 7 runs in the first 3 series.
I just throwing this out there. Now it's a Thursday night game, so maybe that's why. But Barkley appeared on the injury report for the first time this year yesterday. So I do think, yeah, I'm with you. Listen, but I'm just wondering if on that long touchdown catcher, if he got nicked or something, and that's contributed to the 6 carries. But Pat, they've had locker room issues before in Philadelphia. Sometimes they've worked them out. I mean, reportedly, Pat, last year when they were 2-2, they were having those issues, and then they only lost once the rest of the year. This seems to be a bit of a soap opera team that still wins.
Well, yeah, in a lot of ways, they have enough talent to always win, but they absolutely left their philosophy behind last week, early in games when there was no reason to. Step 1. Step 2, a very good friend of mine who played quarterback in this league broke down their passing game for me before the game last week and was not happy with the design and scheme and effort by receivers. So are you going to blame the new coordinator? That seems to be the first stop everyone likes to make. I'm blaming the quarterback. If you have receivers that have vertical 9 routes and they're not running full speed, what quality quarterback isn't ripping those guys going, you better get going here? So it was going on for more than 1 week. And then they come out and try to launch a passing attack. So and I know, and Mark knows better, they're going to go right back to the power run game. But that brings me back to Barkley. Right now for the year, he's at 3.2 yards a carry. Yeah, he had a 5-yard average one this week on a very limited number. But last year in the first 5 games, he carried the ball 91 times for 481 yards at 5.3 a carry and 4 touchdowns. He is now at 83. 17 yards was his longest before the game, and 267 total yards. It's no different with Henry. You tell me what Henry looks like to you right now.
So funny you say that. I was about to pull that up as you were speaking, because that's where my brain went. But let's get some positives out there. I know you talked to Todd Bowles yesterday. We both advocated for Baker for the MVP through 5 weeks. But, I mean, no Evans, no Bucky Irving. And, Godwin's still limited. He had a couple catches. He was back. Abuka's a star. I mean, that's flat out an unbelievable draft pick by Tampa. But it's the whole organization. I mean, they got a big key turnover. Their defense wasn't great, but it got a key turnover at the right time. They cleaned up their special teams, would have been that have been a mess so far this year. And the Bucks win another game, another close one. People are texting the show right now going, are they this year's version of the Chiefs with all these close wins?
Yeah, I think first off, they're a solid football team. They have a quarterback, as you and I have talked about. We would have voted for him today if we were voting for an MVP. But let's take their last play and compare it to the last play of the Kansas City Chiefs, because it's basically the same thing. You got to make the play. So Todd Bowles calls a blitz that he hadn't been calling all game. It's enough pressure on Sam. Sam goes up and hits the helmet and ends the game. Over in the Kansas City game, they don't make enough pressure on the quarterback. And the quarterback gets a fall down, stand up, fall down, and run in for a touchdown. So to me, it's the Tampa defense. And he blitzed Winfield on the play. So he's got all kinds of exotic pressures, and he uses them when he needs to. But I think Todd is probably the most underrated coach in the NFL. People do not give him credit because of his personality. I know him pretty well. He's a good guy, and he's pretty funny, and he's good with his team. They love playing for him, and he's got a culture there. You know what? We don't advertise that, do we? Look at the culture in Tampa since Brady left. You almost can't remember Brady was there, and he was great when he was there. They've won the division every time. They're going to win it again, and they're pretty good in big games.
All 4 wins, they trailed in the fourth quarter, and all 4 wins have been by what? 3 points or less? 4 points or less? Yeah. We're stuff that doesn't happen.
No, okay. And so now you got a team that believes they can do that. The quarterback always believed he could do it. His arm is so underrated. His accuracy and him doing this without Evans, there was plenty of reasons to have an excuse and lose that game. They just don't make them. Todd never makes them.
How are people going to explain that there were 18 guys taken before that wide receiver in this draft? Holy blank.
I know. And so I said to Todd yesterday, I said, I got off you and didn't pick you to win because you had 13 starters unable to practice on Wednesday. So at the end of the show, I said to him, hey, have a walkthrough this Wednesday. Why have practice? Look what you did. He goes, I'm pretty superstitious. I think I will. The guy's very funny.
Baltimore obviously didn't have Lamar, but that was embarrassing again. Houston had 6 points heading into the fourth quarter against Tennessee the week before, and they light Baltimore up. Baltimore plays the Rams this week. We'll get into that on Friday. But is this broken to the point where it can't be fixed?
Well, the history says it is broken, right? Because 1-4. I know David will know the history of this. What are we talking about? Washington, who went 1-5 back in 2020, they lucked out. They won a division with a 7-9 record. Otherwise, no one. Then you've got all the way back to the 92 Chargers,
who actually started 0-4 and went 11-5, right?
So outside of those 2 examples, 1-4 means you're cooked. And none of us want to believe that because we look at the division and say, nothing left in Cincinnati. They've scored 37 points in the last 3 weeks, 12 points a game. Nothing going on in Cleveland. No one believes Pittsburgh can hold on to the top. So maybe they fight their way out of it. Maybe they're the 1992 Chargers, maybe. But I don't know. They got a lot of injuries, not just Lamar. The doctor I talked to said Lamar will not be able to play this week.
We got 20 seconds here. Just want to throw this out there. Dan Campbell's Lions were 1-6 in his second year, and they finished by winning 8 of their last 10. Okay, it's going to take that type of turnaround by Harbaugh and the Ravens to save their season. He's Pat Kirwan. You can listen to him weekdays 3 to 7 on NFL Radio. Moving the Chains is the name of the show. Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Going well. Have you heard a couple of goofballs?
I will say, for those of you that are doubting Baltimore, and look it, there's plenty of reasons to doubt Baltimore right now. Even if they lose this week against the Rams and go to 1-5, after the Rams, they have a bye. So, David, if the Baltimore Colts the Baltimore Ravens lose this week
To the Rams.
they're 1-5. Then they have a bye. Off of the bye, it's Bears at Miami, at Minnesota, at Cleveland. I think they can get 3 of those 4.
That's 4 and 6.
Home for the Jets, home for the Bengals, at home for the Steelers, at the Bengals. I'm just saying
8 and 6.
they can turn this around really quickly. And then they have the Patriots, at the Packers, at the Steelers. They can get to 9. I don't know if that's enough for the division, but it could be a wild card based on the way the AFC has started this year.
I thought last week we said they need to get a split between Houston and the Rams, and we thought if they got a split, they could get to 10.
Right.
So
Now they
so
could
think
lose
about
both
it.
at 9. Right.
Right. Well, and Mark, you said it late in the year they play New England, and they may absolutely need that because it could be a wild card tiebreaker for all we know.
Right. But Left Twix, there's not that many teams. Look at the AFC. There's only 7 teams with a winning record in the AFC right now.
Right.
Yeah, I know they have 1 win, but it's not like there's all these teams that are off to a great start. So, and the Chargers, they're a mess right now with the injuries. A mess.
I think 2 years ago when the Ravens went 13-4, they were 3-3. So we'll see. Got to shore up the defense before they get Lamar back. Got to somehow, because they're playing much worse than they were even playing last year.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Yes, it's football season. Yes, it's time for the baseball playoffs. But ready or not, here they come. The NHL drops the puck on the 2026 season in 8 hours and 22 minutes in South Florida as the Panthers raise yet another Stanley Cup banner. It's not because of age, it's because of talent that he's a senior NHL writer for ESPN and ESPN.com. He's Greg Wyshynski. Follow him on X at Wyshynski, WYSHYNSKI. Wasn't it a month ago we were talking about the Panthers repeating? How has your off season been?
It was brief.
Yeah.
And sort of uneventful in the sense that I think we all thought with the salary cap going up, it was going to be a little bit more chaotic as far as, but it really kind of wasn't. So not a lot of huge trades, not a lot of offer sheets. It was a little bit, so everybody kind of like kept their own players, which I think was a surprise for a lot of us.
And Florida was fantastic at it. But the offseason has brought a couple of things. Kachuk's not going to be there for 4 months. Barkov, their captain. I clearly think he's the most underrated player in the game. He's that good, and he just doesn't get talked about the likes of some of the great players in the game. He's out for the year. With Barkov out, how difficult is it going to be for this Panther team to repeat?
Well, to repeat, they can't if he's hurt. Let's just get that out of the way first. That's how important he is, and you're completely right. I mean, when you think back to those 2 championships and what he contributed, not always offensively, but defensively, in particular in those battles against Edmonton, they don't win without him. So if they're going to win, he's got to be able to come back in the playoffs. And based on the trajectory of the injury and everything that he's said, that seems like a possibility. Now, then we get to the real question is, will they be in the playoffs? And it's kind of crazy to talk about a team that's made the Stanley Cup final in 3 straight seasons as being a bubble team. But let's not forget, they're also going to be without Matthew Tkachuk for the first at least 3 months of this season. So you're talking about a greatly diminished Florida team It still has a lot of good players, but they're all going to have to step up a little bit higher to fill in the gaps in the lineup. I'm looking at, in particular, Sam Reinhart, who has played so brilliantly with Barkov, but away from Barkov has not been as effective. That's a guy who's going to have to drive his own line, maybe for the entirety of the season, for this team to really thrive.
You mentioned Barkov, and he would match up with McDavid in the finals. Quick sidebar. Let's talk about that McDavid deal. Wow. That's a hometown discount. I mean, that's 5, 6, 8 million a year he left on the table for 2 years. I mean, A, doesn't that put a lot of pressure on Edmonton? And B, doesn't that put a lot of pressure on about a half a dozen other guys who are going to become a free agent at the end of this season?
It reminds me of the fourth season of The Bear, where they put a ticking clock on the counter to show them how long they had until the restaurant closed. It was an interesting deal because it kind of made everybody happy, in the sense that the Edmonton fans can be happy he's going to be there for this year and then 2 more. Everybody who wants him to leave can be happy because it is only a 2-year extension. And so it's a pretty bold move. I mean, if I'm the Oilers, I'm not really thrilled because the entire process for McDavid was an evaluation of the team's window to win. And his evaluation of that window is 3 years, basically. So, I mean, it doesn't really inspire. If you're Leon Draisaitl, who's there for 8 years, you're not really happy about all of this stuff happening. But I think for the rest of us who would like to see McDavid in another uniform and see him, have a longer contention window than he'll have in Edmonton, it's obviously good news because he'll be an unrestricted free agent in 2028.
You mentioned the Florida Panthers being possibly a bubble team to make the playoffs. I look at that division and it's so damn strong. Where are the Lightning in that division? They're, another year. They're not what they were, but they still have an unbelievable goaltender, but Hedman's a year older. Points turned into a pretty elite player. When you look at Tampa, what do you see?
It's not going to make a lot of people in this audience happy, but I think they're going to be atop the division. I do think that the strength of their top 6 forwards, Hedman's still great, although, like you said, he's getting up there in years, but so is Ryan McDonough, the other really good defenseman who anchors that blue line for them in front of Vasilevsky. I think that John Cooper can squeeze at least a couple more years out of this group before they might have to get younger in some places. But, that supporting cast that we've talked about before, how, back when they were winning Stanley Cups, it was maybe the deepest group of forwards in the league. They've started to build it out a little bit better. I mean, Yanni Gord came back last year from Seattle. They brought on Oliver Bjorkstrand last season, too, a good, talented scoring winger. They've got some good younger players down the lineup. So their depth is a little bit better than where it's been. But again, it all depends on the health of some of these older players and obviously guys like Nikita Kucherov being as good as we expect them to be.
There were some teams that broke through last year. We're talking the NHL with Greg Wyshynski. The season starts at 5:00 in South Florida with the Panthers hoisting the banner and taking on the Blackhawks. Ottawa and Montreal broke through, made the playoffs. One, do you think either can make a big jump and be a legit contender? And two, who do you think are the young teams that break through and make the postseason this year?
Yeah, I think Ottawa, if you remember, like in the Atlantic, there was all these bottom feeders, and they were kind of munching on what's on the bottom of the basement floor, and one of them was going to make a rise, and that ended up being Ottawa, and I think they're legit. I have them second in the division this year, behind Tampa, ahead of Toronto. Their goaltending is better than it was last season. I love their top 6. I think their defense is really good, including this kid, Jake Sanderson, who's probably going to be on Team USA for the Olympics. So they're the one that's kind of broken out from that pack in the Atlantic. And then if we're looking overall in the league, I've got Utah Mammoths. I got to learn not to say hockey club anymore. Utah Mammoths making the playoffs over in the Central Division. That's a team I really like. Again, strong goaltending, good mobile defense, and a bunch of young guys like Logan Cooley and others who I think have kind of figured out a thing or two in the last year as far as what they got to do to make the playoffs. So I'm excited for them, and I'm excited to see what playoff hockey looks like in Salt Lake City.
When you're mentioning a lot of these teams, and particularly when you're looking at that Atlantic Division, I'm not hearing New York, I'm not hearing Boston. In the Metropolitan, I don't know if the Rangers are going to be what they were. This might be good for hockey with young up-and-comers, but the U.S. audience are used to original six teams being good. Of the original six teams in the States, take Montreal and Toronto out of it. Out of the four that are left, who makes the playoffs?
I just had this conversation with somebody the other day about the Major League Baseball playoffs. Like, I'm not at all upset about teams from Florida and a team from Vegas winning the Cup in like the last few years. What I'm upset about is that they're not beating Chicago and Boston and the Rangers and others on the way to those Cups, which is really the issue right now in the league. The play is amazing. The stars are great, but we just don't have those hammer franchises doing what they should be doing. Like, Major League Baseball has the Dodgers and the Yankees, for example, and the Red Sox too. Of the original six teams, the Rangers, I think, make it as a wild card in the Metro. I don't like their depth. I think that the strength of Igor Shesterkin and some of the veterans they have on the team are going to be enough to get over the hump in a fairly weak division. But other than that, Toronto gets in. But I think Chicago, Boston, Detroit, they all miss. And I think Montreal misses too. They were a huge surprise last year, finishing in the last wild card spot. But I think that they might need one more year for some of those young players to percolate. And frankly, the two guys that are going to contribute big for them this year, Noah Dobson and Ivan Davidoff, great offensively, not exactly exemplary defensively, and defense was the Achilles heel of that team last year.
Have the Canada Five been blackballed? Or if you're innocent, are you given a second chance?
I don't think they've been blackballed. I think that teams are being kind of careful with them. And so, in some cases, and this just happened in Carolina, for example, they were sniffing around the idea of signing one of the forwards, Mike McLeod, and there was a huge backlash from fans. And I think that contributed in their decision not to bring on any of those guys to the team, was the voice of the fans being heard. And so you do have to kind of navigate those waters if you're one of these teams that wants to sign one of these guys. I don't think that they'll go through the whole season without being signed. I mean, everyone needs a guy that can kill a penalty and win a face-off, and if it's available and cleared by the NHL, they'll probably sign him at some point. It could just be the heat's too hot right now. And then you look at a guy like Carter Hart, for example, who used to be the Flyers goalie. There's a lot of people around the league that think that he's going to end up in Vegas. So, a couple of those guys will be back in the league before too long. And you have to remember, at the end of the day, it's the NHL that cleared them. And so once that happens, it kind of does take the heat off of teams that want to sign him. They can just kind of point up the ladder and say, hey, if the league says it's okay, then we've got to, we're going to bring these guys on.
You mentioned Utah as a team that's on the rise. I've been seeing that a lot. Colorado and Dallas have kind of been the two best teams in that division for a while and always make playoff runs. Is it going to change this year?
No, I mean, those two are going to still be at the top of the division. I'm very high on Colorado. I think they've got a real good chance to go a long way this season, not only because of the moves they made last year, but because they're a very aggressive front office that I think will continue to improve the team. Dallas is interesting because they are really loaded with talent. Like, they're fantastically loaded with talent, and their young players in a lot of positions are getting better and better. I'm just intrigued by this coaching change where Pete DeBoer gets fired after basically leading the Stars to the conference final like every season. They bring on Glenn Gulletson, who used to be the coach there. I think he's a real good coach, but I do wonder whether or not they're gonna maybe fall off a little bit without DeBoer, who gets incredible results from his teams behind that bench.
Is Bettman the only guy who's against redoing the whole playoff thing? It seems as if most teams and the players want to do the conferences 1 through 8 and seed them, and one plays 8, 2 plays 7, etc. Bettman is vehemently against it. He wants either Dallas or Colorado to be a first-round loser every year. I mean, I know Bettman, I don't know if Bettman's ever been overruled before, if you know what I mean, or given in. Okay, Gary's always right, just ask Gary, but it does seem as if the rest of the league wants to change the playoffs.
Well, change the playoffs is an interesting topic because, from the perspective you're talking about, yeah, I do think there's widespread interest in going back to a 1-8 format, especially amongst the players. A lot of these guys grew up with that format. They have a lot of nostalgia for that format. And the players that I've spoken to, including at the media tour in Vegas this year, where we asked this question, they also bring up the fact that it's kind of boring when you get the same matchups over and over again. I mean, I could go my entire life without seeing the LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers play in the first round. So I get the league's perspective, which is that this format allows for more rivalry series, and that's obviously the lifeblood of the NHL is getting those like a Florida Tampa matchup, for example. Like they want to force those with this format, but the players clearly like the idea of maybe mixing up the mix a little bit. And then we get to the bigger topic, which is playoff expansion. I mean, we are going to have 2 more teams at some point in the near future. Atlanta, definitely. Houston, probably. And that's going to inflate the total in this team to 34. And, I grew up at a time when 16 of 21 made it. And now we have 16 of maybe 34 making it. Bettman is the guy who stands in the way of playoff expansion, although I would say that there's a lot of players who also don't love the idea of there being play-ins and things like that. But the team owners, yeah, they see that playoff revenue and they're pretty happy about it if they can get a few more teams in this postseason.
Well, we love it here. The Florida-Tampa rivalry. Is the rest of the league enjoying what I think's the best rivalry, not just in hockey, but in sports right now?
I think so. I still think that the USA-Canada rivalry is probably the biggest rivalry in hockey, as we saw in Four Nations last year, and hopefully that we'll see in the Olympics this year. But as far as team versus team NHL rivalries, there's nothing even close to this one right now. People around the league were all talking about the penalty-filled, fight-filled game between these two teams playing, what's essentially a glorified scrimmage, and they're beating each other up and getting fined and suspended for it. You just don't have that in other rivalries around this league, and it's a special one. You've got geography, you've got legit hatred, you've got 2 really good hockey teams with star players. It's on a different level, and it's the kind of thing that I hope the NHL leans into, because I do think that if you tell a casual fan, hey, there's two of the best teams in hockey you're going to play tonight, and oh, by the way, they just love to beat each other up, you might get a few eyeballs in that game.
Well, the NHL could start by putting the Panthers at 8 p.m. I'm a Rangers fan. I've seen enough Rangers Penguins for my lifetime as well. Greg, safe travels. We always appreciate what you contribute to this show. We love your work. Be good. Hopefully we can talk again down the road.
Yeah, anytime. Thanks for having me back. It's good to have hockey back as well.
Greg Wyshynski covering the NHL. The season begins in 8 hours and 7 minutes. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, inside the Doubletree by Hilton. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers, a classic sports bar with an outdoor deck. Then in October, we'll have all the playoff baseball. College football, they are home to the Ohio State fan club. NFL action, the start of both the NHL and NBA seasons. Never mind trivia, karaoke, bingo, all part of the entertainment package at Shoeless Joe's. Good food, good times, good sports. Bell Tower Shops, Fort Myers.
For over 50 years, the Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122. or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
But Johnny, yeah, Matabouquet is big loss. I think he was their second best player on defense behind Kyle Hamilton. Big loss. And clearly their best lineman, and that's tough to overcome. That neck injury may be more than just a season ending too. They're very concerned. Oh, I didn't see that. Baxberg. I don't know what it is. Did you see that, Mark? What's on the side of the Panthers ring? We apologize to no one.
I see it now. I didn't know that. I
what
mean,
is,
the rings are for the players. They're not for anybody
Right.
else. So
what do they have to apologize for?
I will say that, I mean, you know, the person who was at and there's a reason I didn't ask a Red Wing question, because they're not going to make the playoffs. That's why I put the original 6 thing in there. Add to it that Washington's probably going to go backward with Ovechkin. I don't know if they're going to be near. I mean, that was a fluke last year. The Penguins might be the worst team in the league. That's tough for the league.
I don't think the Rangers are that good, to be honest with you.
I don't either. But that might be the worst division in the sport.
I do think Shesterkin's the best goalie in the league, but because the Rangers have been very bad defensively for his whole career, and
yeah,
I will say the good news, if you're a Wings fan, they kept 4 rookies on the roster. If you're not going to make the playoffs, at least get these guys better so you're closer next year. I mean, that at least is a good thing for the Red Wings. I'd rather see them do it with the young guys than some of the other crap they've had the last few years. And I don't think it's Yzerman's last year.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this first Tuesday of October. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Don't want to spend too much time on this. Don't want to lose the audience. But we just got done talking a decent amount today about how the Chiefs and the Ravens. And it doesn't take much slippage. And in one case, it might just be they're 10 to 15% not as good as they were just a year ago. In the other team's case, it's, just a barrage of injuries. I mean, is it possible that the Florida Panthers... this whole run started, they slid into the playoffs by a point 3 seasons ago. A point. Now, they went to the finals, but they were the last team in. The margin was pretty small. I mean, they're without 2 of their 4 best players. They're without their best player for the whole year.
And one of the 5 best, maybe 3 best in the league. And I Barkov, you take McDavid, you take Draisaitl, you take Matthews. Barkov might be next, and I'd take Barkov on my team before I take Austin Matthews every flipping day, every day.
Barkov or McKinnon?
Close. Probably McKinnon. So I'd go McDavid, McKinnon, Barkov.
Okay.
And Draisaitl's right there too.
So they lose their best player, top 5 player in the league, in our opinion, because when he's on the ice, outside of the other 2 or 3 guys we mentioned, he's the best offensive forward and the best defensive forward on the ice every time he steps over the boards. And Tkachuk's one of their 4 best players. I mean, they're without 2 of their 4 best players. Tkachuk is not going to play probably before Christmas. I mean, I'm just wondering, is it... And they're old in some spots, or older in some spots. I'm just curious. We haven't seen the drop-off in Bob yet either. It's kind of like Travis Kelce last year. This is a goalie who's 35, 36. I mean, when it happens, it doesn't have to be a steep decline, but it could be the difference between winning and losing.
I think there's a couple of things. One, I think at the end of the day, they'll make the playoffs because the roster's deep enough. It truly is. Their bottom 6 is better than most everybody else's bottom 6.
Yeah,
the Bruins are not going to be very good. Buffalo's not good. Detroit's not good. Are we sure that Toronto's going to be that good? So I do think they make the playoffs. Okay. I think the X factor might be Montreal. Are they going to be as good as they were a year ago? Ottawa, that he mentioned, and that just sucks for the league. I mean, who gives a damn about the Ottawa Senators outside of 6 people in Ottawa? I mean, that's the tough one because we're going to be stuck watching the Ottawa Senators in the playoffs this year. Good luck getting numbers with them, Gary.
Those of us who are fans of the league remember that Anaheim-Ottawa final.
The other side in the Eastern Conference, Carolina is going to be really good. The Devils should be pretty good. Other than that whole division stinks. Washington, they were over their skis last year. Ovechkin's 100 years old. Yeah, he's a big name, but he's not as good as he wasn't. The record's broken, so we're not watching history being made. Yager, it might as well be Yager. Crosby and the Penguins, they're terrible. They could have the first overall pick. So if the teams we're used to watching, will Chicago be any good with Bedard? I mean, the big name teams aren't good.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
The Rangers are the best original 6 American team.
And they're
And
a
they're
fringe.
average.
Yeah, they're a fringe playoff team with no depth. Great goalie, about 6 really good players, but yeah.
By
So,
the way, if I bet you right now that the Baltimore Ravens make the playoffs, you can have the Ravens missing the playoffs. They're 1-4. They are a 7.5-point underdog this week to the Rams. I will take the Ravens making the playoffs. I probably should ask you for odds, but I'll just bet you a Jimmy the Beef Guy sandwich the next time you're in town. Loser buys.
Wow.
Would you make that bet with me?
Yeah, because I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I don't. Although, I think it was during a commercial break, as you laid out, we a week ago said about Denver, hey, even if they go into Philly and lose, they're going to be favored in their next 5 games. Don't be surprised if the Broncos go on a run. Well, they go into Philly and win. Look out. I mean, they could be 8-2 next time we turn around. You said about the Patriots. Okay, and we did not see this one coming. We didn't look forward on the Patriots. We thought they'd go into Buffalo, lose, and we didn't look too far forward for a team that we thought would be 2-3. But you pointed out the Patriots could go on a 5-1 stretch here coming up easily.
They should be favored in 5 of their next 6 games. Does that mean they win them all? Of course not. The Giants beat the Chargers. We all know this is the NFL. But the Patriots, they very well could be this year's Washington Commanders. They really could. But the Baltimore Ravens, after this game in which they play the Rams and they're a big dog.
By the way, stop. Do you think the Ravens are going to win this week, or do you think they fall to 1-5 and then make the playoffs?
They fall to 1-5.
Wow.
And they will win 9 games this year, and they will have a shot at a wild card. After that game, they play the Bears. They're at Miami. They're at Minnesota. Now, that's the toughest game they have in this stretch. They're at the Browns. They're home for the Jets. They're home for the Bengals. They start December, home for the Steelers, at Cincinnati, home for New England. Just saying.
All right. You gave us a lot there. Let's just say they win 5 of their next 6. Because if you go through it, let's give them the loss at Minnesota. But they beat the Bears and they beat the Browns at home.
The Dolphins, the Jets, and the Bengals.
Right. Okay. So they get to 6-6.
Right.
Now talk to me.
Home for the Steelers.
Okay. Well,
let's be honest. And they play the Steelers twice. So let's just give them a split.
Right. So they're 7-7.
At the Bengals. That's got to be a win if I'm going to be right here.
8-7.
Home for the Patriots. That's the game. That's 9-7, and they're at Green Bay. Called a loss. I think they get to 9-7. I think 9-7 in the AFC will be a tiebreaker for the last wild card.
But you have them losing to Green Bay in the season finale.
It's Pittsburgh's the season finale, but they play Green Bay the week before.
Oh, okay. So right now you're betting on them going 9-8.
Yes. 9-8. I'm sorry. I said 9-7. 9-8. And I think that will be a tie for the last wild card. Will it work out that they have the right 9-8? We'll see.
Yeah, I think they're giving up too much here, and I do think they lose this weekend.
But by the way, after beating Buffalo at Buffalo, here are the next 6 games for the New England Patriots.
For the 3-2 New England Patriots.
They're at the Saints. Then they're at the Titans. Now, do they win 3 road games in a row? That would be something. But they already beat the Bills. They're playing the Saints and the Titans.
Well,
those teams are going to be picking in the top 4 in the draft.
Well, also, let's stop. The Tennessee game?
Yeah.
That's going to be personal.
You're damn right.
And those players are going to know it. Okay. They have to go to Nashville and win for Vrabel. Have to.
Then they're home for the Browns. That would be 5 in a row, possibly. Home for the Falcons. That's a toss-up game. Then they're at the Bucks. Then they're home for the Jets. That's their next 6. They still have games with Cincinnati, the New York Giants, the Jets, and the Dolphins left.
Okay. In their next 6, just said, let's go 4-2.
Right. Okay.
So now we're at 7-4. Got to be honest. You laid out their closing, even them losing to Baltimore there at the end. I mean, Giants, Jets, Dolphins, Bengals.
Right.
I mean, you look at the Patriots right now, and if they stay relatively healthy, don't you think they can put 10 minimum up on the board? See, this is where I think Baltimore's in trouble, where they're the Colts of the world, the Jags of the world, the Patriots of the world. Are they going to bank enough wins early in the season that they can get the horse in the proverbial playoff barn? You make this big rally, kind of like the Lions. What was it, 3 years ago? They finished 8-2 in their last 10, but they were 1-6 and they couldn't get there. I'm just wondering, Mark, if the same fate could fall for Baltimore.
It could, but I also look at the Chargers right now, and this isn't because I broke up with them yesterday. That is a banged-up football team.
Very.
I mean, their offensive line is a mess.
Both tackles.
They don't have a running back. They're down to third-string running backs.
Yep.
They have a third string that made the team. Their other running back, like for you fantasy guys, you're choosing between a third string running back and a guy that got cut and put on the practice squad.
However,
that's the running back for them.
However, you need to claim one of them because they're playing the Dolphins this week, who give up 704 yards rushing a game.
But remember, they still have the Broncos, the Chiefs. They actually have a game with the Eagles, the Steelers, the Colts. Their schedule is a lot more difficult than what I'm laying out for New England, what I'm laying out for Baltimore. So there are no guarantees to me that the Chargers can get to much more than 9 this year.
Okay.
And you're right. How many wins can the Jags and or Colts, because one's going to win the division, bank between now and when the schedule gets much more difficult?
And
do you trust the Texans to start making a run?
Well, I was just going to say, they have won double-digit games each of the last 2 years. They have gotten up off the deck here and won 2 games. They're 2-3. Come on now.
I understand, but I'll still lose money on the Ravens that don't have a proven track record. I'll take Lamar Jackson. You can have some of the others. Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yinzer, I think that's a hell of a point. Speaking of a team that's got a bank wins right now, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you're on to something. By the way, how many wins is it going to take to win the NFC North this year? Detroit's down 2 defensive backs already. One's done for a long time. One's done for a few weeks. No, you're right, Yinzer. I just looked at the schedule. I mean, they got the Browns and Bengals. Then it's Packers, Colts, Chargers. Bengals at the Bears, no gimme. Bills at Ravens. Pittsburgh should be able to get to 10. They should, but they got to bank every win and not screw up. And what team in the NFL doesn't screw up a game?
This NHL starting today is a problem. I got a lot of shows to catch up on with my wife. Fall season has started. We've got a couple shows. There's some stuff that's streaming that's dropped.
It's so great that my wife doesn't care about watching shows at all. She literally comes home and says, "What game are we watching tonight?" It's great. It's absolutely, and she's a Yankees fan, so the baseball I've been able to put on, and she can watch the Yankees.
8 o'clock tonight.
She knows I'm going to watch the Tigers. I can put hockey on. Now the Penguins are going to suck, which, I mean, they're going to suck. That's tough.
Will she still watch them because of Sid?
Probably not, but I don't know how long I get this. We made the switch to Hotwire in our neighborhood, so for a couple months I get their TV package free, which means I believe I get the local games. I'm probably gonna have to dump the $20 a month for
Panthers
and Lightning because you get them both on that.
Gotcha. So there's not the blackout that there used to be where you only got one or the other?
No, you if you buy the whatever, FanDuel or whatever it is,
right,
you get all. If you buy the app, you get all of it.
Okay. Well, Mark, that means you'll also get the Orlando Magic and Miami Heat.
I'm down with watching the Magic. Was texting with Felipe Saturday night during the Canes game. And he's great. He was at a bar with buddies, and he's all fired up. And then, of course, I think I made a Heat comment. He's like, whenever you're ready for an NBA guest, we may have to give Felipe a middle segment for his NBA preview. An 8:21 segment here in a week or two. I know we could do a better NBA guest, but I mean, we just did an 8:36 NHL segment. Oh, that's right. That's right. The Panthers, I got to get the HD antenna so I can watch them on whatever the hell that is. You're right. Thank you for that, Mr. Spivey. That's a good reminder. I got to order me a new HD antenna. Because that's the only one I get. Man, you just saved me a lot of money. Thank you. Because I get the Lightning on Plus. I don't get the Panthers. How? What a day.
It's the bonus hour of Miller and Moulton on the floor.
Got to fix that one. It's on me. I didn't make a note on fixing the Tuesday rejoiner. That is on me, David. I got my little spot where I put my notes when we like yesterday when the mouse didn't work. And it threw me for a loop. I put the wrong one in there. It is the bonus hour brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And we have our Schuler-Stowe Sports Cafe poll questions. The feature games at the bar this week. What are you going to watch? And right now, oh boy, Seattle at Jacksonville getting nearly 75% of the vote. The Dolphins with 10%. Dallas, Carolina with a little more than 8%. And no one gives a damn about the Browns and the Steelers. Nobody. I mean, nobody. And then for the 4 o'clock game, it's all Tampa Bay all the time.
So LeBron James took to X yesterday and said he's going to have an announcement at noon today. And it was cryptic in its wording. Didn't he say it's kind of like his second decision?
Decision 2.0, I thought.
Okay. And obviously, the first time he made the decision, he took his talents to South Beach, which, by the way, was over 15 years ago. Wow. It also shows how long he's been playing. Brett Siegel covers the NBA for a living. He just came out and said, guys, I don't want to, burst your bubble for those that are expecting that, he's going to announce that this is his final year. But he has a huge deal with Amazon. And isn't tomorrow like Prime Day or something like that? Like it's supposed to be a big Amazon shopping day. And that's what the guy who covers the NBA, LeBron James, has a big deal with Amazon, and Prime Day starts tomorrow. Not a coincidence. That's what Brett Siegel, I guess Prime Day's today.
Okay.
Brett Siegel posted that yesterday. So he thinks that what LeBron cryptically posted on X will have nothing to do with his retirement, but will be a big Amazon announcement.
Speaking of Amazon, I saw another announcement this morning, and this may have came out a couple of days ago, and this seems really exciting to me. They're going to bring back the skins game in golf. It's an Amazon Prime only event. It's going to be on Black Friday, which they used to have it on. And it's going to be, I believe, JT Shoffley, Keegan Bradley, and Tommy Fleetwood. Can't wait for that.
Wow, Tiger not involved? That's interesting.
Well, you really think he can play golf on Black Friday and be any good? I'm not kidding. Tiger, do you really think we're going to see him play anywhere again? Because if he can't compete, he ain't playing. And I don't know if he'll ever be able to compete again. I mean, maybe in a senior tour event where he can take a cart, but can you see him being able to walk the hills of Augusta to actually play? And I don't see Tiger pulling I'm going to shoot 82 because I'm a past champion.
No, I don't think he will do that at Augusta either. I think, he can talk about winning all he wants. I think Tiger will be like, if I can't make the cut, I have no interest in playing. He turns 50 at the very end of this year, December 30th, I believe is his birthday. I think him and LeBron share the same date anyway,
Yes.
not year, but date. He always swore he'd never play the Champions Tour. I got a feeling things have changed because he swore he wouldn't play the Champions Tour when he was a lot healthier than he is now. And I'm just guessing, Mark, obviously, because I know him so well. But I'm just guessing that Tiger's not ready for the competitive part of his career to have essentially ended when he was 45 years old. Because, the Tiger Woods that we've gotten the last handful of years is a shell and besieged by injuries, most of them of his creation, by the way, which the golf media seems to conveniently leave out.
It's golf media after all, David.
Right. But so my guess is he's actually going to play on the Champions Tour.
We'll see.
Because he's become a big PGA Tour guy and they own it. And that's, by the way, how he'll rationalize it publicly. Okay, we own the Champions Tour, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I want to support it.
Sure. And that's a tour that there was a time when Jack was playing on it and Trevino was playing on it. And, people watched. And golf was going through a little rut on their tour.
Well, and I think also now, Phil never fully embraced it. And then obviously once he went LIV, I think those of us would have wondered if Phil these last couple of years, if not for LIV, would he have played half and half? Or would he have still tried to just compete on the PGA Tour and maybe only play the majors on the Champions Tour? Because Jack did that in his 50s for a while, in which he'd play a senior Open and a senior PGA and what have you, but he wasn't playing the Champions Tour week in, week out, but he would show up and play the majors.
Well, didn't Phil play 2 senior events and win them both?
Yeah, I mean, he did. And he won, I think, a senior major. He also played a senior event and didn't win, I believe. But, because remember, he won the PGA a month shy of 51. So he had already started dabbling. But I wonder also, Tiger could represent, like a lot of the elite players, they don't need the money anymore. So if they don't want to play at 50, they don't have to. They and goodness knows, how much money Tiger's earned. So
and still is with all
right. Oh my goodness. Right.
They did bring back Full Swing for season 4. I'm guessing that'll be pretty good as we get into the Ryder Cup stuff when that comes out, but we shall see.
What's this indoor thing called again? Because they announced
the indoor. I can't even think of the name right now. And you know what, David? I mocked it when it started. By the end of it, I was actually watching a little bit of it. It was they started being a little more fun. They started having I didn't think it was produced well. Thank you, baby Jules. The TGL, yes.
Okay. Well, I think they announced yesterday the TGL is going to start like December 28th or something like that. It starts, last year I think it was late January, early February they started it, but this year they're starting earlier.
Nothing like a team event having city names in which there's no chance of ever having an event in the city in which the team's name.
Right. And I will say this is the one problem I have with the TGL, besides the fact that it's fake golf, is it's kind of like LIV. They've got these team names. You have no idea who's playing on the team. It's the same thing in the TGL. It's like Team New York. I don't know what the hell Team New York. I don't know who the golfers are on Team New York. And Atlanta and what? Give me a break. I don't know. It's just, could you give me? How about Team Tiger? Something like that. Crazies. Team Rory. although he's not playing in it. But you know what I mean. I mean, anyway.
I just think it'd be funny if the 1,200 fans started mocking the Ryder Cup players. Call me nuts. Make a putt. Make a putt.
Oh, that'd be outstanding. That'd be outstanding. Okay. What if they start doing the European chant? You know, ole, 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 ole. No? Too soon? Good, bad, ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when coming up.
The Nolan family has been dedicated to protecting local families. Nolan Family Insurance is a second-generation independent agency that specializes in home, flood, auto, and boat insurance. They take the time needed to explain your coverage options and answer your questions so you can make an informed decision that's right for you. If you're looking for an agency that treats you like family, call 941-639-1122 or go to nolanagency.com. That's 941-639-1122 or nolanagency.com.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, we had a texter say, I'm not even sure he can compete on the Champions Tour. That's, to me, the reason why he won't do it. Speaking of Tiger. I think that's a really good point. I do.
Ugh.
It's pretty good. Ed Werder reposted this thing from the Dallas game when Javonte Williams broke off a big run before the half. Dak hit 18.4 miles per hour chasing him because they didn't have any timeouts left. It was late in the half, and if he got tackled in bounds, they needed to get the spike.
Nice.
That's right there on film what you're showing the whole team. That's what. Where do I think who plays this year? LeBron? You mean LeBron James? What James are you speaking of, Left Twix? The Lakers.
So when Ben McDonald said there's zero chance I'll be watching the NHL, Boucher-Gross, did you see what his response was?
Oh, yeah.
Zero is also how many postseason innings Ben McDonald pitched in his MLB career. Here we go. There we go.
Sonny, I appreciate everybody posting, but when you post things that are on other networks, are you telling people to quit listening to our show and watch them? Because I don't know why saying someone's on the Today Show helps this show out at all. Just an observation. You all have the ability to leave and do what you want. LeBron James playing for the Lakers, Left Twix. He has a contract with the Lakers. Adam, what upsets you more, LeBron talk or WNBA updates? Huh?
Adam, I did 3 Duvals today. Just take a deep breath.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're out of here on this Tuesday. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We have the Shoeless Joe's poll questions. They're up for 4 days every week, where you get to decide what the feature game will be on Sundays at Shoeless Joe's. And feel free to wear your favorite team's jersey, Bud and Bud Light specials for those that are, jersey wearing.
No matter how old you are.
Right.
You could be old enough to get punched by Mark Sanchez and still wear a jersey as far as I care anymore.
You could wear a Mark Sanchez jersey.
Ooh.
Okay. And the specials still apply.
Ooh. Dang.
There's a funny meme out there in which they said that what the punishment for Sanchez should be for what he's accused of is to have to continue to play for the Jets. Boom.
Yeah, that's a felony now. That got changed yesterday.
I understand.
That's a game changer for the former Jet quarterback. I don't think he'll do a day in jail for what it's worth, but
no, I do
think it affects the civil case. This guy's now suing for.
Oh yeah, suing everybody.
Yeah.
Oh sure, Sanchez, Fox. Oh yeah, I mean, I'm waiting for him to sue the city of Indianapolis. So yeah, no doubt, line them up.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start today in 1916. For those of you that thought Spurrier may have run it up on some teams, he was nowhere near what John Heisman did today while coaching Georgia Tech in 1916. Georgia Tech defeated Cumberland.
222-0, the most lopsided score in the history of college football.
Well, our kids, they practice too. They practice hard. What am I supposed to do? Tell them not to score? Okay. I mean, they deserve it.
1935, the Tigers win their first World Series, beating the Cubs in 6. 1952, the Yankees beat Brooklyn in 7 to tie their own record for 4 straight World Series championships. 1971, The French Connection premiered in the U.S. It would win the Academy Awards Best Picture in 72. Walter Payton passed Jim Brown as the NFL's career rushing leader today in 84. The captain, to those of us from the Mitten State, Steve Yzerman, named captain of the Red Wings. He would be the captain for over 1,300 games. It began today in 1986. The Tampa Bay Lightning became the first NHL expansion team to win their franchise opener. Today in 1992, they walloped the Blackhawks 7-3. Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill became the #1 album in the land today. She's the 4th female artist to have her debut album reach #1 in the 90s. Paula Abdul, Mariah Carey, and Toni Braxton are the others. Without today, I don't know what people in Southwest Florida would watch, David, because Rupert Murdoch today in 1996 launched Fox News.
I hear it's doing pretty well.
Yes, it is. Today in 2001, a U.S.-led coalition began attacks on Taliban-controlled Afghanistan.
That worked out well. I mean, everybody who's gone to war against Afghanistan, they've really done well. And
yeah, because it's changed so much after it.
Right. I mean, you know what it was, when the Soviets went in the 80s? Yeah, it's exactly the same. It's kind of like that old Sam Kinison bit about food and hunger, but that's a whole other story.
It's a hell of a point, David. Arnold became governor of California today in 2003.
Arnold.
And in 2012, Drew Brees would break Johnny Unitas' record for consecutive games with a touchdown pass. His 48th consecutive game in doing so. Bishop Desmond Tutu, Dick Geron, and Tony Sperano would have all celebrated birthdays today. Oliver North, remember him? He's 82. John Mellencamp, the guy you just saw in concert about a year ago and thought it stunk, he's 74. Putin, 73. Simon Cowell, 66. Tony Braxton's 58. Priest Holmes, 52. Charles Woodson, 49. Nathaniel Ratliff, great singer, 47. Evan Longoria is 40. And Mookie Betts is 33 years old today. What did I miss, David?
Well, Mark, you always leave the happy, peppy, bursting with love stories for me. Of course, it was 2 years ago today that Hamas launched the attack on Israel, killing over 1,200 Israelis and foreign nationals and taking nearly 300 hostages. 2 years ago today.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Minnesota, where Jackson Drum was a hockey player. In a tournament in Canada, he suffered spinal cord injuries while playing. He was paralyzed, and he was told he would never walk again. He has defied the odds in an unbelievable way. One, he's walking again. He said, I'm not going to be paralyzed. Two, he was never supposed to get off a ventilator. Then he got off a ventilator. He wasn't supposed to get off a feeding tube. Then he got off the feeding tube. 9 months after the accident, he returned to watch his hockey team play. And on Sunday, the Minnesota Wild invited him to the game and let him share a suite with friends. He's hoping one day to play hockey again, but he is showing people that spinal cord injuries are not the end. Great story.
Awesome.
For the bad, we go to the sponsor of this segment's area, Cape Coral, where a woman was arrested Saturday night after being accused of DUI and then refusing to take the testing. She ran a red light, drove into oncoming traffic, and finally hit a cement barrier on the Cape Coral Bridge. She was weaving through traffic doing a little over the speed limit. Jana Labash, the 51-year-old, was arrested when she wouldn't get out of the car when officers approached the driver's side door. She threw it in reverse and almost hit the officer's squad car. They finally were able to get her under control while she was rumbling, stumbling, bumbling. She refused to give a breath sample. Finally, the ugly. This one's even worse. We go to Montana, where a 22-year-old man with no driver's license was driving the wrong way on I-90. Police were called by several different witnesses. They couldn't even describe what kind of vehicle it was. They said possibly an SUV, a truck, or a Jeep. It was going so fast they couldn't get an actual description of the vehicle. Fortunately, a trooper who was nearly run off the road while the car was driving the wrong way at over 100 miles an hour. But police were finally able to get the man off of the road. Not only did he not have a driver's license, he may not have been from this country. Well, we'll know what will happen to him next. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, October the 7th, here on Miller and Moulton.
Well, it's a Tuesday, no football. It's a Tuesday. We got hockey. ESPN with a triple header, 5, 8, and 10:30. Blackhawks and Panthers, 5 o'clock. An early bird special. The Panthers will hoist the banner for their second straight Stanley Cup championship. 5 o'clock, ESPN. ESPN released the video that they've put together at the start of this season. It's tremendous for those of you that love your hockey. Penguins Rangers at 8. Mike Sullivan was behind the bench in Pittsburgh for a decade plus. He's now behind the bench for the Rangers. And Colorado and the LA Kings. 10:30 on the Four-Letter Network. Baseball, American League Division Series, Game 3s, both on FS1. 4 o'clock, Mark. Mariners and Tigers.
Not too often during the middle of the week am I going 2 TVs wide, but with the early bird hockey game and baseball, I got 2 games to watch during happy hour. This is fantastic.
Logan Gilbert against Jack Flaherty. Based on how they performed in the regular season, edge Seattle on the mound. Series tied at 1. If you're the Tigers, you take 2-2 right now and put Scooble back on the hill for Game 5.
100%. The interesting thing with Flaherty is you're right on the regular season, but his record against playoff teams or teams with a winning record was really good. He pitched to the competition, so to speak.
A.J. Hinch, outside of Scooble, not a lot of patience with his starters. Would not surprise anybody if 3rd, 4th inning, he's already into the pen. That's 4 o'clock on FS1, 8 o'clock on FS1. The Yankees try to stay alive. Down 2-0. Carlos Rodon pitching for the Bronx Bombers. And he's got the edge, and the Yankees have the betting edge. Seattle, the betting favorite against Detroit. But in the Yankees-Jays series, the Yankees are minus 160 tonight, which is interesting. Shane Bieber on the hill for the Blue Jays. These teams ended up tied this year. They each had 94 wins, but Toronto is what, 11-4 now against the Yankees in 15 meetings this year, something like that? So see if the Jays eliminate the Yankees tonight. Here's what I'll be curious about. Game within the game. You know, some teams pitch around Judge. If you're the Yankees, don't you have to give Vladdy Jr. the Judge treatment?
Yes, but more importantly, don't you just have to bet the over in this game? It's 7.5. And I know you're laying a little money. It's minus 125. But seriously, don't you just bet the over?
Here's what I'm most shocked about. The answer is yes. But secondly, do you know the over opened at 8.5? How in the world could they watch the first two games of this series when the Jays have scored 24 runs and have the over-under go down?
And what has affected the Yankees from a pitching standpoint is guys that throw good splitters or good sliders. That's really not the case. They've got a fastball pitcher today. I think the Yankees will go over 7.5, David.
I would not pitch to Vladdy Jr. if I were the Yankees. I don't like the matchup of Rodon, a lefty, against Vladdy Jr. at all. I think he should just totally pitch around him. Give him the Judge treatment. Take a look at Vladdy Jr.'s numbers against the Yankees this year. It's like Bonds in his prime. Ridiculous. By the way, that ball he hit in game 2 is still traveling. Holy guacamole.
Oh, did that irritate that Selly irritated some Yankee fans. They were already up 5 spit. You know, here's an idea. Get them out.
Hey, the Yankees pitcher against the Red Sox was at game 2. He got out of that jam in the 7th inning, and he had a WWE moment. Okay, coming off the mound. He darn near ripped his jersey off.
Well, come on. Baseball fan by and large, you know, we are the jersey guys when it comes to football. You know, the Bills jersey, we show our age.
Right.
Baseball guy shows their age quickly when they get upset about celebrations. And, you know, you love your diva receiver, David. I love my baseball celebration. And I know pitchers can't go high and tight anymore. I wish they could. I like both ends. You want to do a celly? Well, when you get them next year in June, you better expect one on your hip.
And I will say, and this goes back to when they were good 10 years ago, and now they're good again, the Jays know how to celebrate. The Jays know how to celebrate. Do you see the jacket they have, the postseason jacket?
That's something.
You hit a homer, they put the postseason jacket on you?
Yeah, that is
outstanding.
I think they gave Ryan Clark that jacket to wear last night for the Monday night preview.
So there you have it. Hockey on ESPN at 5, 8, and 10:30. Baseball on FS1 at 4 and 8.
Bud Elliott, Chris Perkins on the show tomorrow. We will talk some college football with Bud, and we'll talk about the Dolphins with Chris. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much for listening to Miller and Moulton.
Experience at the Diamond District. We offer a litany of other services. Appraisals.
We have 2 GIA certified gemologists, full-time, servicing your needs with appraisals.
We buy gold, diamonds, gemstones, Rolex watches. Repairs.
We have 3 full-time master bench jewelers.
A beautiful custom design department so that we can give you one-of-a-kind jewelry. Come see Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for
Mark
details.
Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.